Wait for the green light to go green. All right, my light is green on YouTube. It's telling me that I am live. I have not seen the feed show up yet in on my YouTube watch page. Okay, there it is. Okay, I see us live on the YouTube watch page. And let me go over to my Facebook live page. And it is looking like we are also live on Facebook. Okay, so I'll just share this out real quick in case somebody wants to join us. Okay, we're here. We're here, boys and girls. Okay.
And I opened up a Sigwin window.
All right. Well, we're live. We are live on the internets. We are live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And hello, everybody. Welcome to a very, well, the word special will be used loosely, and it's going to be to be determined, but this is certainly an unplanned CoCoTALK where we're doing a Discord Sunday social. So we're here. We're going to just chat about whatever. This will be a super duper loose and unscripted episode of CoCoTALK, so just a regular show. And we're all here, and we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about. But we're doing something different this time, too. We're on Discord, and Discord has this new Brady Bunch Hollywood Squares feature, similar to Zoom, where people can join, and we can share screens and do all kinds of stuff. So how about we say hi to who's here right now in the Hollywood Squares? We've got L. Curtis Boyle. Happy Sunday afternoon to you, Curtis.
Hello, everyone. I'm kind of trying to debug the grabber problem in the background, so I may not be as vocal as I usually am.
Oh, that's a relief. And then
I'll try to mute the swearing, but
listen, we had to listen to your crap for 45 minutes yesterday, so you can get laryngitis for all I care.
Then.
So yeah.
Let me pick up where I left off.
Enough about ease of use. What do you think about ease?
Yes. Let's now that I've told you all about it, let's hear everybody else talk about it ad nauseum.
Exactly. Please praise me all.
We also have a man whose name is so nice we must say it thrice. It's Rick Adams. Rick Adams. Rick Adams is with us. Hey, Rick.
Darn you! You threw me off.
Thank you. You're too kind.
Oh, now I was going to do that too. Now I got nothing.
Oh, sorry.
We got a guy whose name is so nice that we'll just say it once. Nick Marotta is here. Hey, Nick Marotta.
I don't like the way this show's going so far.
So far.
Wah! Like you guys with the 6309. Wah!
Yes. he knows the way to San Jose. And he likes it. It's Mikey. Michael Furman is with us. Hey, Mikey.
Hey, how's it going?
Very good, very good. We have got, in the center lower square, we have R. Alan Murphy's with us. Hello, Robert. How are you?
Howdy. Great Sunday.
Looks like and by the way, if you're just joining us now on Discord, we are live and on the air, as the name of the channel would indicate. So you've been warned. So tread carefully. Speaking of treading carefully, David Ladd is with us. David Ladd, let me ask you a question. Are you excited about being here? Is there any enthusiasm at all you'd like to share with us?
Why, yes, everybody. I can't wait to see how this stream goes today. And hopefully Grant won't be streaming live either. So we will see how it goes, and let's get this show on the road.
Oh, you are too kind, and thank you, Robert. We said hi to Robert. Steve Bjork has just joined us. How are you, Steve?
Oh, hanging in there. Hopefully everybody's having a good Sunday afternoon.
So far, so good. And the guy who's playing Daggerath like that idiot in the book, Tim Linder, is with us. How are you, Tim?
Hi, everybody. Doing great.
That idiot in the book, I swear.
Just don't become the idiot.
we've got a couple people screen sharing right now, which is an interesting experimental feature that we're going to be looking at here. Like right now, I'm clicking on somebody's screen. So Rick Adams, are you coding, Rick? Is that what I'm looking at? Rick Adams' screen. I see.
Yeah.
I see
So I got it switched over to my Sigwin window.
Okay, so I see multicolored text here, and my head has already exploded. But okay, good stuff. So yeah, there's some interesting features. How do I stop looking at that?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the source to Temple of Rom 2.
excellent, excellent, excellent. So there's some interesting features that we're going to be able to get with doing this through Discord. One of those features is the ability for multiple people to share their screen and theoretically have all those screens up in the tile at the same time, which we can't seem to do with Zoom. Zoom is a very tug of war kind of sharing method, so only one active share can be visible. In this one here, we can have them all here, but if you're doing it as a stream, I can only watch one of those streams at a time, but they're at least in here so we can see that people are doing stuff. When David first, Greg Ferguson says Temple of Rom 2, ? Cool. You want to plug Temple of Rom 2 and where people can learn about it real quick, Rick Adams? Rick, did you hear me? Rick Adams. Rick Adams.
He's deep in the code.
Yeah. No. Steve was breaking up on my end. Templeofrom.com.
There you go.
Go there and take a look.
Okay. Templeofrom.com. Yeah, it's a project that Rick's been working on for quite some time, Greg, and there's actually a channel for it here in Discord, and there's a website for it, and it's the second best thing to Temple of Rom since Temple of Rom, I would have to say. So
this time it's Romir.
Yes.
45% more Romir.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now with 45% more ROM. That's right.
And you can download it today.
That's right. It has a level
take it
editor.
for a spin.
It has a level editor, sort of. You can customize it. All kinds of good stuff. Yeah. So David told us about this new feature in Discord where we can share stuff. And what we're hoping to be able to do is to have a game on challenge where we're all playing at the same time and we can see ourselves all at the same time. And I think that is very close to reality. And then the last thing that's going to have to happen is for the people who want to do that, they need to be able to enable a virtual camera on their system and make that the primary feed into Discord. And we don't need to get into the technical minutia of that now, but for those who know how to do it, you already know what I'm talking about. For those who are interested in doing that, we can discuss that offline, but it's pretty easy to do with OBS and it's free. So you could take your emulator, share your emulator through OBS as a virtual camera, and then stream that, and we can have a tile of people playing Coco games together. And I think that'll be a cool live game on thing we can do at some point in time, you know. So this is all kind of like life. It's a work in progress, right? So every day, a little something better. Number one, I want to say thanks, guys, for doing the show yesterday. And from what I can tell, other than the hour and a half of Nitrous 9 content, it was probably a decent show. So,
well, some operating system had to keep running through the show. Windows couldn't handle it, so...
Burn.
We appreciate the work you guys put into it, Curtis.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Windows has been nitroed.
Poured your heart and soul into Nitrous 9. It's really cool.
Yeah, actually, to be serious, it was actually nice having David O'Connor on as a guinea pig because he'd never really used it before, so he was, doing it all from scratch.
Absolutely. And hopefully next week, by next week's show, I'll be able to do that too because I've got it downloaded. I've been playing with DriveWire and PyDriveWire, and I just had a breakthrough this morning or this afternoon, whatever, that I guess we can talk about on the show, and then I'll do another update video. But it kind of takes the two videos I made this week, it brings those two worlds together. And spoiler alert, there's a happy ending. So I think I'm able to do what I need to do now with development thanks to DriveWire, and it overcomes the one obstacle I had to using that wireless SD card, which is the file locking problem. So I've gotten over the file locking. So I can now do live editing and saving and updating from either side. I can save a change on the Coco and have it right back to disk. I can open up my PC-based editor and read those changes and add to those changes and save. So I have achieved synchronicity.
Nice.
Yes. Now I just need to know how to program.
Well, now all hope's lost.
Yes, all hope is lost. So, but it's neat. It's neat. I'm starting to feel more like a real Coco capable person at this point, man. And I never thought I would say this, but thank you, DriveWire. Thank you. I owe it all to you, DriveWire.
And Wi-Fi SD cards.
Yes. So.
Yeah, that does sound convenient. I might have to get one of those at some point here.
Yeah.
And Stevie can do it at the rest
I've
of
got
us.
one and I love it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Rick Adams...
The non-shareable was always an issue I had that
Right.
kind of went, I don't really
Right.
know.
Rick Adams has been doing this for a while, using DriveWire to develop and cross-compile. And I have understood what he was doing, but I also think what Rick... and I'm not trying to belittle what you're doing. I'm going to try to simplify it in a way my simple mind can understand it and tell me if I'm right or wrong. But your projects typically only involved assembly source, and there was no companion information on the disk, right? So you could work with the source, boil that down to a bin, have that bin put into a disk and mount and run the disk. Is that a accurate simplification of the process?
Correct.
Yeah, and my two projects.
And then I could, since it's mounted on my CoCo SDC. Since it's mounted on my, the disk image that I would put it into is mounted on the CoCo SDC via DriveWire.
Via DriveWire.
Then immediately I could just,
Via DriveWire. That's the key ingredient there.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
So then I just go over to my actual physical hardware and fire it up and see how much trouble I'm in.
Yeah. And so I'm now doing something similar, but I'm not using the LWASM Deck B type stuff. But I'm doing a similar thing. And I think the only difference to my process right now is both of my games have other things on the disk that my games need. So my games are not all self-contained in their source. They've got companion content that they need to pull from the disk. So those extra objects that would also need to be injected into that disk over DriveWire, I know that's all completely possible, but how to do that is a little bit over my head, and it's enough over my head. I'm not willing to make the mental investment on learning how to do that, kind of fancily. So I have a process that works, and on that process, I'm going to continue to use that process, because if I have to pause to learn a new trick, it's just going to slow me down on what's really important, which is working on my projects, so.
Can I tell you what I'm doing with my Wi-Fi SD card?
Sure.
I'm doing something different than what you are. Basically, the only thing that I really use it for is to, like if somebody sends me a really neat game, I can put it on the SD card, which is on my color computer downstairs.
Okay.
So I'm upstairs, it's downstairs. Mm-hmm. The color computer itself, the power cord to it is plugged into a Wemo switch, which is a remote controlled switch.
Okay.
So I can just I can just say, Alexa, turn on the color computer.
Okay.
And it's going to actually do it now because I said it right in front of the device. And that'll turn it on. And then I'm on a Windows machine upstairs. And now I can go and I can, it's mounted as a drive. So I just open up that drive and then I take the disk image and I drag it in there. And then I close it. And then Alexa, turn off the color computer. And, and then later on I can go down and run it.
Okay.
See what this neat new game looks like.
So it's a way for you to update the SD card on your CoCo SDC without having to do the old SD shuffle. You just wirelessly copy it down to the card. That way it's waiting for you on the real CoCo whenever you decide to go play it. Yeah, that's neat.
It's an oversimple use of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the biggest first world problem we have right now is having to eject and update the SD card and pop it back in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
right.
That's
Oh, I hate it when
turn
that happens.
around.
I know. Darn it, this modern SD card I'm using that never existed 40 years ago, I now have to pop it out and pop it back in several times a day. I can't live under these conditions.
Yeah, I
Gotta be a better way.
I don't hear the hard drive spinning, when I'm using the SDC. It's very disappointing.
Dude, I know MAME has emulated floppy grinding sounds. Does it have the hard drive percolation sounds by any chance?
No, and to be honest, I hate the name sounds too.
That would be kind of cool. I don't know what you'd actually call the noises, but they kind of sound like coffee percolating to me, the hard drive sounds that it makes.
What they really need to emulate properly in MAME is the old CRT buzz, that high frequency pitch whine you can hear in the background of the real CRT. That's what they need.
I just turned on the TV at the console right next to me because it's still got the flyback transformer.
I've got a wife and 2 daughters in the house to provide high pitch whining for me at all times. So.
And he's sleeping in the garage again, folks.
Good times. So yeah, you guys want me to show you what I was able to pull off today with my live drive wire editing tool thingamajiggy?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me move stuff over, and here's what
I'm just going to go grab a coffee whilst you get ready there.
Yeah, of course. Now the whole Discord window. Okay, so this is new, folks. So bear with us. If I go back to Discord and I go to share screen, I'm going to change windows. We're going to go to screen and screen 1. All right, you guys still see that I'm sharing my OBS, but now you see my Windows title bar down there.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to minimize that. I'm going to drag over my Coco 3 capture. This is my Python DriveWire server, and then right around here, where do I need to open it up? I need to open up I guess you technically don't need to see this, but I'll show it to you. So this is the web user interface, right? I showed this in my video. This is how
I'm not seeing anything right now.
You maybe click on my thing and hit show stream or view stream.
Yeah, I'm seeing it fine here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's showing up here.
Yeah, you should see a giant green browser window at this point if you click on my stream. And I do see there's an eyeball.
There we go. I see
it.
You're right.
Okay. All right. So this is the web interface to the Python DriveWire server.
I see it.
Okay. And how I mounted my disk, and this is what Mikey explained to me this morning. If you use the choose file button here, and then you browse to where your disk image is, and he's saying this is basically a web browser security feature, rather than it mounting the direct file, it's creating a copy of the file in my temporary folder and mounting it there. And it's a security feature to prevent your browser from having direct access to files on your file system. And that's nice that he put that security feature in there, but that kind of screwed me up. So I couldn't use the choose file option, but in the path here, if I was to manually type in the path and location to where the disk image is on my PC and then insert it to DriveWire, that now works. And so what you'll notice here in my DriveWire terminal, if I scroll back here, is that it actually says that the disk that's being mounted is, user/steve/desktop/dw/dwterm.disk. So that's where I have my DriveWire stuff right now. I created a DW folder on my desktop. There's my disk. There's where it's mounted. So there was one little challenge I had before when I tried this, and I tried to save a change to disk and then remount the disk. I could never see it because the active disk was a shadow copy of a disk in a whole other temporary folder. So now that I've gotten past that, the cool thing now is this, right? So this is my current program I'm working on right now. As you can see, this is my real Coco, and I just kept adding line numbers to it. So right now you see there's 10 through 40. There's a line 35. I'm going to go ahead and add a line 39 and say print Canada is sorry, right? So now I've just added line 39. Canada is sorry. So when I list this out, I have line 39. So now I have to save this as test. Now I've saved it. So now when I open my edit tool, This is my handy dandy John Strong edit tool, and I double click test. Boom, there's my line 39. Canada is sorry. So you see I saved the change on my Coco. I opened this up on my editor. This is my basic program. It's in my editor, real time. So if I wanted to add one more line here, and I want to add like a line 36, print Nick Marota, right? So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to save it. And that was what, line 36, right? So I'm going to close that. I'm not even going to unmount the disk now. The disk is still mounted in my tool. But if I go back to my Coco, and I have to reload it, obviously, because it's not in RAM, but I can just load it back from the disk and hit list. Now line 36, Nick Marota is there. So I can now, without having to remake and rebuild the disk image, I can update the code on my PC or on my Coco one side at a time, but I don't have to do any futzing to do that. Before I had to mount and unmount and do this and do that. So it is a two-sided relationship to be able to read and write the contents of the disk image over DriveWire and on my PC. And at this point now, I've got no excuse not to work on projects other than being lazy. I got nothing left to complain about, right? So that is cool. That is the revelation I came up with today, and it's what I wanted to do. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working, and Mikey explained to me the whole browser security caching thing, and then boom, problem solved. So, and who just joined us?
Awesome.
Is that Terry Trapp? Hey Terry, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing good, man. How are you guys?
Good. We showed off one of your videos yesterday.
Oh yeah,
on the show. Yeah, you do some cool stuff.
Blowing up.
Yeah.
Two of them actually.
Yeah, man. Good to have you on,
thanks.
man.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Yeah, today I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably do a video on actually testing the regulator inside the salt chip with the external components that I put together, and I don't know, it may smoke. We'll see what it does.
All right. Tim Franklin was asking, does it save it as a tokenized BASIC or ASCII? Right now, the tool I'm using by John Strong, by default, does save it as tokenized, but there is an option to save it as ASCII. I'm just not doing that. So I'm just doing a normal save and saving it as tokenized BASIC. So yeah, so for me, this is the coolest thing now because it's kind of like combining the two worlds of the emulator and the real hardware. And I can work on things a lot easier now, I guess.
Yay.
Thank you, Mikey, for DW term.
Well, you're not doing DW term.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Pi DriveWire, whatever. You do too many things, Mikey. Yes. Yeah. DW term.
Semantics.
Yeah, semantics. Tomato.
Thanks for both.
Yes.
You guys are certainly welcome.
So Terry, we never really had you on our show, and this is not like one of our normal shows, and that the word normal is used very loosely anyways, but you want to tell everybody a little bit about maybe yourself and your kind of your background, what you used to do back in the day and what you do now, and maybe we can plug your YouTube channel too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so my name's Terry Trapp. Just a computer geek like anybody else. Professionally, I'm a manager for a company managing IT guys and do IT work. As far as Coco stuff, man, got my first Coco 3 or Coco 1 whenever I was 9. Got a Coco 2 eventually later on. Played, did a little bit of hardware hacking with it and everything. Really didn't understand the software side of it till much later on. Got a Coco 3, ran OS 9, had a FidoNet bulletin board running ribs back around 1990 or so. And really my introduction into computing and everything was, actual real operating systems and all of that was OS 9. It wasn't DOS or anything else. And I finally come back around to playing with this stuff a few years ago. And, one of the difficult things that I ran into was how can I watch what's happening with the Coco 3? And I wound up picking up a NEC, AccuSync 71V. It's an LCD that'll take the output straight out of the Coco 3 and display it.
Oh, like an analyzer or probe or something?
No. It's just the LCD monitor.
Oh, okay. When you say okay, I don't know. I'm thinking too far down. You started mentioning hardware. I'm thinking about scoping or probing or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No,
Okay.
not a certain monitor or anything like that. Yeah, it's
Okay.
just a standard monitor. I got it on eBay for like $100 or less, and went plugged right into the Coco 3 as far after you make an adapter.
This is one of those 15 kilohertz VGA screens that you just need
Yep.
the passive analog RGB connection to Coco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And you get in there, you do have to tweak the settings and get that thing to where it looks good and all of that. And just been playing around hacking with the stuff. My Coco 3 was dead, and whenever I first was messing around with it, and had to go through and figure out what was wrong. Found the RAM was bad. After I figured out the salt chip was hosed, and so that's how I wound up with the Coco 2 that I have now. Was just to get that chip out of it, put it in the Coco 3, get the Coco 3 into where I could power it up. Once I powered it up, found out I had bad RAM, put a boomerang in there, and it went on with it. So now I'm playing around with this Coco 2, just seeing what I can do from the hardware side of it. At some point, man, I want to get involved with a lot of things you guys are doing. I don't have DriveWire. I do have all the hardware, not put together, but in a drawer over there to do that. And the stuff I've been seeing the guys do with I guess it's ESP32s to basically have a serial port that connects out over the internet, so you log on to BBSs remotely. That looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's I guess that's like a hardware solution. Instead of having to use a DriveWire Telnet thing, you just have this basically Telnet internet enabled modem that plugs into a serial cable, and your Coco doesn't know that there's a high tech thing on the other end of that wire, right?
Yeah,
that is pretty cool. And I know some people are using those type of devices or running some software on their PC to provide a similar feature, which is kind of DriveWire-ish. So yeah, that is neat.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one's actually set up like an internet, ribs BBS or something to be able to connect to. Maybe someone has, and I'm not aware of it.
Are you on the mailing list? Are you on the Coco mailing list?
I am on the mailing list, but I get so many emails. It's difficult.
Yeah, there's some chatter about that on there, and I went to a website. I don't remember what it was in my most recent video, but it's like Telnet BBS list or something. There's a website that lists all the different various Telnet BBSs, so you could search through there and see. I don't know if it's going to be specific to tell you what platform they're running on, like Ribs or whatever else, but
telnetbbsguide.com.
Yes,
it does have a platform section.
Okay, it does have to tell you what platform they're on. Okay, so telnetbbsguide.com. And I think it's Phil. His name is Phil on there that he's running one that is on Ribs, which runs does that run on Nitrous 9 or OS 9, Curtis? Ribs?
Yes, it runs under Nitrous 9.
Runs under Nitrous 9.
Bill Noble's actually going to be doing a little bit of work on that because he wants to actually get one of those up and running again on Telnet for people to get on.
What would be cool is where people could download updates to EOU over a modem. Like to download it
on a Coco to a Coco from a Coco.
Yeah, from a Coco to a Coco. That would be kind of cool. All right, download the. I just remember using the old X modem, Y modem, Z modem type stuff,
Yeah, Supercom has built-in Z modem support already. So
Z modem. Sorry, I didn't say it the proper Canadian way. So
in the civilized world way, but yeah, go on.
Cool. Thanks for joining us, Terry. I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about. We're just here shooting the breeze. James Diffendaffer has joined us. Grant Leedy is here. Hey guys, David Ladd's here. Tim Lindner is here. One of the things I think I asked you guys when we were chatting in Discord last night, you guys all caught the new and improved Tim Lindner Daggerath bumper, right? On the show?
Oh yes.
Yes.
More modernized one.
I love the ending.
Yeah.
The way he looked into the camera was just funny.
I just thought that. As soon as
did not see that.
Go ahead, Tim. Is there anything you want to say there? Or I saw your name light up for a second.
Don't forget about the tear.
The tear, yeah, he had a tear coming out of his eye, yeah. So
yes.
He's a method actor. So he emoted.
What did you draw on for that particular moment, Tim?
Hand sanitizer.
Ken Reichert wants to know. Ken's asking what the topic is. What is the topic? So, yeah, so I guess there was a little bit of an issue with in the middle of the stream. Mark had a computer challenge, so his computer had to reset. And so the original re-airing of yesterday's official CoCoTALK show was broken into two pieces. And then this morning, since I have to create the podcast files too, I went ahead and I stitched it together. And then I just reposted it to YouTube as well now too. So if you watch the replay of yesterday's episode 158, it's now just one file. And that's how the audio and video podcast will be as well. And I am looking forward to hearing the ease of use part. Derek Green says, first time joining Discord, watch past episodes, love the Coco SDC from Ed, and new to the community. And that comes in from Periscope. So we're multi-streaming across the multiverse. And so right now, Periscope is however the hell Twitter does its video feeding crap. And since the stuff I pay for that lets me multi-stream lets me stream there too, I'm like, screw it. We're going to, like a virus, we're going to spread this crap out everywhere and infect as many possible networks as possible. So thanks for watching us on Periscope there, Derek Green, which feeds into Twitter. Cool stuff. So anybody else working on anything this week? Coco projects, any type of projects, quarantine projects?
Just me trying to get this grabber 609 thing resolved so that people with 609s can actually play.
Yeah. So that's our game of the week this week is to play grabber. And apparently there's a problem with grabber on if you have a 6309 and you're trying to run it on real hardware. Once you get past the title screen and try to start the game, it freezes. It plays one note and then freezes. So
what I've discovered so far, though, this looks like a patched version of grabber. Like I know they sold the original version as disc and cassette. And the most obvious sign that you've got a cassette-based version of grabber or of any other game for that matter is that the P Mode 4 screen is usually set at 600, which is right after your text screen. But that's where Disc Basic sticks a bunch of its buffers and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that sometimes causes conflicts. Now, in grabber's case, it is using 600, so it's using the cassette area, and there's a bunch of suspicious no-ops scattered throughout, like somebody remmed out a bunch of code. So it looks like they took a cassette version and hacked it to run the disc, and I'm wondering if it maybe was a little bit incomplete because I know the disc routine does have problems with 609. Sometimes in native mode, or also with if it's trying to pull a register off the stack type thing, like there's some little issues there with the 609 that had to be patched. So I'm wondering if that's maybe related to the problem. I don't know if anybody out here listening has the actual disc version of grabber as released by Tom Mix back.
Didn't somebody post that they tried it and it had the same problem?
Well, that was me. I thought I had the original disc version of grabber, but I compared them, and it looks like mine was the patched version too. So I've been under the wrong impression all these years. But anyway, I'm going to keep plugging through it here and see if I can figure it out. But
May 3rd, 2020, Curtis was wrong about something.
Oh, I'm wrong about lots of things.
Just for those keeping score at home.
Yeah, and
so I have something.
He just
Rick.
Doesn't tell you.
Yeah. Rick, go ahead.
So I have something that I'm excited about. That's
okay.
sort of color computer related. Did you see where I finally found the tape of the talent show in 1982?
Yes.
That Dale and I were involved in.
Yes.
So that was kind of exciting. I've been tearing the house upside down for years looking for it, and I finally found it. I found it in a drawer that I looked in about 5 other times, and never found it. And suddenly it was there. So anyway, I sent that off to Neil Blanchard, and he's going to read that off. And the tape looks like it's in pretty good shape. Some of my tapes are not in good shape. That one looks pretty good. So he's going to try to get some MP3s of that for me. So
excellent.
Sweet.
And then I have a couple of other tapes that I'm going to send off to David Connor. One of them is Dale's. Dale was in a band for a while, and so this is their demo tape.
Oh, neat.
And then the other one is the earliest demo tape of Ashley Cleveland, who's actually a fairly famous musician of some note, and she was among Dale and my circle of friends, and so that's how I have a copy of her demo tape. So I'm going to send that one off too. So I'm really happy that I found that, and it was I had forgotten when I finally found it. The cover art for the cassette was done by me. And I did not know that. I did not remember that.
And these are the only living copies of these. So these are basically audio cassette. You call them masters or whatever, but they're the only copies that live in the world, right?
There were quite a number that were distributed out. Well, I don't know about quite a number. I would guess that maybe 20 got sent out back in 1982. And how many of those still exist? Well, who knows?
Yeah.
But I would think a handful at most. I asked Jim Issel, who was my other compatriot to Dale and myself. We were all in a carpool together. So I asked Jim if he had a copy of that tape, and he says, no, I lost that many years ago. So I'm really happy to have found it.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it. If that's something you're going to share publicly once you've got it digitized.
Oh, yeah.
Neat.
It's lots of fun.
Cool stuff.
Well, one song is lots of fun because it's me making. I did my own song and did all my own singing and guitar playing and stuff. This is back when my guitar playing was good. Of a song that I wrote out of all the error messages from our compiler. So it was like really funny, and you can hear everybody in the background laughing and all that sort of thing. Then there's a couple of other songs that I did with other people. Most notably, this one woman who I'm sorry to say cannot sing. So there's another. There's one where I do a duet with her, and my vocal part is okay, and hers is not so good. And then there's another one where she's like the solo singer, and that one is really incredibly bad. So entertainingly bad. So it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. So.
Oh, well, that pretty much sums up the panel of our shows on any given week. So, and I'm not saying who's who, right? That's a very subjective. Yeah. I love how Nick Marota's got that green glow on his face right now. It almost looks like he's hulking out on us, right? So, are you hulking out?
I'm coding in VCC, so I have the green screen reflecting. Yeah,
it's very cool, very Coco. You are committed. Yes. Don't make Nick angry. You won't like him when he's angry. So.
I'm working on my STC menu thingamabobber.
Nice. Yeah, I missed.
Let me change the color.
I was just starting to get to the high scores when you guys were live yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to finish watching that, so I have to catch the replay. But that's a neat thing you added, where the high scores are now being generated on a Coco.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, you're too kind. He is. Oh my. So what else do I have to do on my to-do list now? So I need to get back to working on my Kabam, and now I can do that without even needing the Wi-Fi card. So I want to get that going. Then I'm going to start learning assembly, and then possibly even learning CMOC, because there's things I want to do. I want to make programs, and I'm tired of the limitations of BASIC, both all the constraints of speed and memory and everything else. So I'm ready to graduate and move forward. So hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be able to do that. So I'm kind of excited about that for me.
It's either that or get the Gimme X with the turbo mode.
Yeah. Okay, what is Al Hartman saying? Al Hartman is saying something here. Sorry, Al. Al Hartman says, this is earlier when Terry was talking about his salt chip. Al in the live chat says, Terry, when you get your salt chip replacement all worked out, Gene Hesklet on the multimedia list could use one or the directions to build one. So once you have figured out a salt solution, there's somebody else who needs to benefit from that from you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So probably the route that I'm going to take is I'm testing it all on Protoboard first to see if it actually functions the way that I want to. Then I'm probably going to go ahead and draw up a small, basically do a small layout for a PC board that will be a plug-in. I'll make sure that it plugs into both the Coco 2 and the Coco 3. At the very least, we can, I'll have something that will handle the voltage regulation, which is the larger part of it. I mean, obviously having the bit bangers good, being able to control the cassette port and all that. I think that part's going to be easy. Doing a comparison of the Coco 2 and the Coco 1 as far as the aspects of the way that it does the shaping for the cassette crossing 0 and the bitbanger stuff it's interesting the way that it does it, and I haven't quite wrapped my mind around the way that the differences between those two. But hopefully we'll have something together soon. I'm going to share everything. I mean, it's not as if I'm trying to make money off this. I mean, how big could the market be for a salt chip, right? Both people in the world will need it.
Both people.
But yeah, I'll definitely be sharing everything that I can.
Okay. Hopefully that was what you were looking for, Al Hartman. Who else? Al Hartman. He also added in that mailing list is run by Dennis Bathory Kits, if you were not aware of that.
Okay, and that's the Malted
Media.
Malted Media.
Yeah.
I think I'm on that one. Yep.
So Gene Hesklett, I guess, is another person who's looking for some salt assistance, right? I guess in a pinch, pun intended. If you can't use your salt chip, maybe try a little Mrs. Dash. All right, boom.
A little Mrs. 7805.
Yes. Boom.
Bam.
That's what we missed on the show yesterday was lame Stevie humor.
All right, I'm gonna go left, Curtis.
I'm gonna go for the jugular, but anyway.
And blah 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 blah. James Diffendaffer is here with his Rorschach Mandelbrot on his thing there. You with us, James? James, do you copy?
What you want?
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm just trying to get up the nerve to start working on a project again. That's just, I'm fine.
Okay. You can do it. We believe in you, James.
I wish I did. I believe I would rather mow a lawn right now than work on this project.
Yeah,
so.
Is this a Coco project or a work project or what?
It's MC10.
Okay. That is actually the next thing I want to try. Now that I've, for lack of a better term, conquered DriveWire. By conquered, I mean now comprehended to a minimal level. Next thing I want to try is the MC server that Pi DriveWire also supports, and I do have a real MC10, and I do have that MCX 128 extender, and so that's kind of like the Coco SDC for the MC10, and MC is kind of like DriveWire for the MC10, and so that would be another cool little thing I'm going to try, make sure I can figure out how to do it, and once I can do it, I'll make a little video on that too, as these little projects, me doing things I've never done before, right? So
cool.
Yeah, I've actually got two MC10s because I bought them just to have them in the collection, and they're in the box, and they've got all the power packs in the book. So I've got a couple MC10s, but other than turning them on to make sure they work, I've done zero with them. So.
You and 98% of the other owners.
But the good news is that, if I can figure out how to use the MC server, there is a huge, enormous library of Jim Gary offerings that I can just stick in a folder somewhere and just pull them up at random and run them on the real MC10, So,
a lot of cool games.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is the people who know how to do it, well, they already know how to do it. So me creating a video on how to set up MC10 to the 12 people that are doing it, that's zero benefit. But there's a lot of people who probably haven't done it. And so maybe after doing it, it might inspire someone else to try it, or even to maybe buy the MCX 128 if they haven't done that already, so. Jason Downs is saying an MC10 computer and game controller all in one unit. Are you I'm not sure what that statement means, Jason, but You're saying that we need one? You're saying there is one? Or didn't Ed Snyder make something at one point in time for the MC10 that had kind of like the PSG on it, the sound chip, and 2 Atari ports on it?
I know he did a prototype, but I don't know that he sold more than a handful.
Oh, so you're saying the keyboard is the only controller, so it would be nice if there was a game controller for the MC10 itself. Right. Now, the funny thing is that the Alice, right? The Alice, which was the French version of the we'll call it the Lay MC10, it had a joystick port that plugged into that expansion port, right? And so you actually could add joysticks. There was a legitimate joystick expansion for the Alice, but I think if you plug that in, there was no memory on that thing, so you added joysticks at the expense.
It didn't have a pass-through.
Or a pass-through for that matter, right? So you could add joysticks at the expense of the RAM expansion. But yeah, I think Ed Snyder at one point in time had made something for the MC10 that I don't know if it was also like the MCX 128 or if it was just like generic RAM upgrade plus sound card plus joystick port. But I remember seeing that.
And posting a photo of it or something.
Yeah.
One thing to remember on the Alice, there were multiple versions of it. The first one was like the MC10. The second one had 32K built in.
Oh, like on board.
Yeah, and then it's the what was it? The Alice 32 or whatever. I think that's what it was. And then they had a different graphics chip. They had a Thompson something or other that was the graphics chip, and then they had the Alice 90 or whatever it is, the big red one with the corners cut off. It had a real keyboard and stuff.
Oh wow!
And if you look at YouTube and stuff, you'll find all kinds of videos on them.
Wow! So if you're a hardcore collector, those would be some highly sought after things, huh? Because I'm just not familiar with yeah.
And the most highly sought after thing is they sold it as a kit with the tape recorder and cables and a bunch of stuff in a plastic case, and that's the rare thing is the whole kit.
So Jason Down says, I picked up a Canadian MC10 a couple of weeks ago. It's exactly like the US one, just with a French accent. So Les MC10. Whoa. And it's Colors. That one would be Color. Micro Color computer.
MC10.
Yes. How do you say Les MC10 in Francais there, Nick Marotta?
MC10.
And say dis. Oh, is that how you say 10? Dis?
This. Yeah.
Wait. I have to show you guys something. Give me a second.
Uh-oh, Mikey's going to show us something. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yes.
Be prepared to block the video.
Okay.
Not suitable
I have
for
to get
work.
it. Here.
Okay. NSFW. Al Hartman says it only opens French doors. Oh, wow. That is a big box there. TRS-80 Micro Color Computer. Micro Ordinaire Color TRS-80. Wow. That is like completely not English.
That's cool. Yeah. I wonder if my box is bilingual as well.
The side is English.
Micro Color
Computer.
MC10.
The side is not English.
Micro. Well, how do you say that word there?
Ordinateur.
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 Color.
Yep.
Okay, that's the one that Jason says he has. Yes. Ordinateur.
My MC10 was sold in Canada, and yeah.
And looks like Terry's performing some type of lobotomy surgery going on there. Are you playing a game of Operation on a Coco, Terry?
Did you get it off eBay, Mikey?
I am.
No, I got it from Coco Lounge when that was still open.
Oh, yeah. So if you make the guy's red light nose light up, then you've killed your Coco?
Most likely. So literally what I'm probably going to do here in a minute is short out the power supply and see if it smokes.
Seriously? So you're going to try to release the magic smoke on purpose?
Yes. If magic smoke is released, then I didn't do my job right.
Okay,
so
you have a small person behind you.
You have an assistant.
Yes.
Hey.
And just so you know, we're live and on the air. So if you don't want your family members broadcast on the internet, I'll make your video smaller. Just protect your privacy.
She wants to be on YouTube so bad she can't.
No, that's fine. But I just figured, yeah. Everybody wants to be on YouTube, and apparently any idiot can do it because I figured it out. So
I'm famous.
How many of us are here right now?
Oh my God!
I don't have a camera, so you guys are spared my ugly face.
We saw you before, James. What happened to your camera?
I shared a picture, I think, before we went live.
Okay. I don't remember, but I know we've seen you on camera before off the air.
My laptop had a camera, so maybe that was
okay.
What you're thinking of.
And Garrett Reynolds on YouTube right now says, guilty as charged, bought an MC10 in the box, purchased the manuals and quick start, tested it for operation, put it back in the box ever since.
That's how I treated my Aquarius. I mean, that was.
I mean, I have things. I have. I bought a what the hell? Timex Sinclair, not that. What's the other one? The TI-99. I have a whole TI-99 set up with cartridges and joysticks and all kinds of stuff. I bought it because I was like, yeah, I'd like to have it, and I have it. I've never looked at it. I'm not even sure.
There are some cool games.
Oh, absolutely.
But you know, as far as programming goes, it's zero interest in. I don't like the basic.
So I think sometimes there's things we just want to have, or we just get them because you come across them. But I've got my dragon in a box. I have my Tano dragon. That's something I want to look at. So I think maybe as you know, if we continue to be quarantined and we have more time, I might have more time to get to some of these things. I'm curious on a lot of things on the dragon side of stuff. I know there's a way to make a Coco SDC work for dragons, and I think Henry Wrightfeld just posted one in Discord recently, all the steps he went through to get Dragon DOS working on the Coco SDC and the dip switch settings. So there's a way to take your Coco SDC and dragonize it. And then there was something else, I forgot what it's called, but it's somebody else makes it, but it's kind of like the Coco SDC for the Dragon, but it lets you play CAS files and other things. Anybody remember what that thing is called?
No.
The Moo,
no,
maybe?
The Moo was...
Dragon. Okay, Jason says it's called the Dragon MMC. Okay.
Yes.
So
okay. Yeah.
I know enough to be dangerous about... I think the Moo is basically a 512K RAM on a cartridge with MMU. So it kind of makes a Dragon or Coco work like Coco 3.
It adds state saves and stuff, though, that we don't have in the SDC, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So the MMC is kind of like an SDC, but it does more. It does similar things, but because most of the library for the Dragon was on cassette, I guess you could mount these CAS files, these recorded cassette files, and load those, I'm assuming, much faster than the speed of tape.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. That's one of the things you'll find on the Div MMC on the Sinclair Spectrum. So that's probably where they got that, is you could load cassette files without loading through the cassette, and it would load faster.
And then
because Europe was much bigger on cassette than disc than we were.
Right. So that's something, if I ever get my Dragon fired up, might want to just get one of those to experience. It's kind of like the MC10. You got it. There's a ton of software you could run on it, and using something like the MCX 128, boom, you can get all that software in there. Something like this Dragon MMC, it's like, boom, just get the software in there. So it might be neat to do that. Nick Marentes has joined us. G'day, Nick.
G'day. Wasn't yesterday's show bad enough?
Yeah, we're still talking about Ease of Use 5. There just is not enough.
Okay, I'm gone.
Ease of abuse.
That's the only reason Nick came on, is to brag about his trash can yet again.
It was a good trash can, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so we're
Are we
live.
live onto the outside world, or
Yes.
only to suckers in here?
No, we're live to the outside world. We're trying out Discord, and it's working, obviously. few things for us all to kind of get used to with what it does. But there may come a day when Discord makes Zoom unnecessary. There are some things I still like about Zoom, as far as being able to allow or deny people from joining, because right now, anybody can jump in on this. Obviously, they have to be a member of our Discord server, and we have a stringent screening process where you can just basically tell us anything you want, and we'll believe you.
Just so you're aware, every time I tried talking on the Zoom chat yesterday, my client just bombed out of the connection and then reconnected. So there's some issue going on with my connection.
Okay, are you is your client up to date? Because they update it like every hour, it seems like. So
I updated it after that, but it wasn't while I was on the show.
Okay.
So
yeah,
the version 5 upgrade's a pretty major one too. So.
And it fixes the security issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Luciano just gave us a like. Hey, that's one of our Brazilian friends. Hey, Luciano, how are you? Yeah, so the ability to use Discord to have this kind of wall of talkers is neat. That's a new feature, so we'll definitely use it when we can. I think doing a cool game on Brady Bunch thing where we can have lots of game windows running simultaneously will be kind of cool when we're doing these live things. So that'll be neat.
All right. Well, I think I'm ready to attempt to blow up a Coco 2.
All right, let's do it. Let's see it. Let's maximize your video. Okay.
Okay. So let me explain what we've got going on here. So over here is the outboard voltage regulator that I'm replacing in the Salt.
Okay.
And essentially what the Salt does is the Salt gives a steering voltage to this big fat pass transistor right here. So it provides a nice constant, little bit more than 5 volts to this guy, which then feeds the rest of the CoCo. And on the output of this is a very large transistor right here, or not transistor, resistor. And as current goes up through that resistor, voltage gets larger. And if we get more than 0.7 of a volt across that resistor, it triggers another transistor back over here in the Salt replacement, which cuts off power to the steering voltage, which basically causes everything to shut down. And then it turns back on, and then it shuts down. And so it sort of oscillates there, and it protects the CoCo from having too much current flow through it.
Okay.
What I have right here is a 6 amp fuse, which is connected directly across the output of that resistor and ground. So whenever I power this thing on, it's going to be a dead short on the output of that, on the output of that resistor that feeds the rest of the CoCo. So right now we have 0 volts across the display. If we continue to see 0 volts or just have it just kind of sit there and flicker, then it's doing its job. It's protecting the CoCo. If we see 5 volts, then we know that the fuse is most likely blown. If I click it on and we see flickering or smoke, then that's unexpected. And I have no idea if this is going to work. So this makes for great live television.
And you're willing to risk your CoCo in the pursuit of science.
This thing is a dirty, ratty piece of junk. It is horrible.
Okay.
Look at this. Look at this thing. Look, I mean, it's supposed to look like that, but it looks like this.
Wow.
I bought it on eBay several months ago for $30.
Okay.
And it's a 4K, or I'm sorry, it's a 16K. I do have a 64K upgrade sitting over there that I'm going to do at some point if it survives this. So,
should you give out the ubiquitous "Don't try this at home" disclaimer before you turn it on?
Children, don't try this at home.
These are professionals under controlled circumstances.
That's right. What do you got to lose?
Well, maybe not that last part, but
Professionals.
So you're going to risk the 6847 and the SAM, huh?
Let's do it.
Uh-oh.
Why do you go?
Uh-oh. And a
Here we
1,
go.
and a 2, and a...
Bang!
Okay, it just went to 0,
No,
5, 8.
no volts. No volts. No smoke.
And this went down to 0.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute. I saw a flash.
You saw a flash.
You know what we just smoked?
What did you just smoke?
We just smoked the fuse that's on the transformer.
Ah.
That, well, you know what?
So that means the power supply sacrificed itself for the grade of the cocoa.
It did.
Okay.
It did. So most likely the cocoa's okay.
Now, was that because I saw you touching some of those clips there for a second? Was the fact that you touched anything, did that introduce an unnecessary short, or were you just making sure all those pins there were good?
I was feeling the pass transistor to see if it was
Okay.
heating up.
Okay.
And it didn't heat up. But
Let's have
yeah,
some real fun. Short the fuse
Yeah.
and turn it on again.
Yeah, if you really want an explosion.
Hey, we've been joined by Jason Downs. Hey, Jason, how are you? Haven't seen you since last Cocoa Fest. How you been, man?
Hey, I'm good. I wanted to show you my Dragon MMC since I actually have one.
Oh, Jason has one. All right, we're going to switch over to Jason while Terry burns stuff. Don't burn down the house, Terry. Have a fire extinguisher nearby.
Absolutely.
How you doing, Jason? It's been a while, brother.
Good. I'm okay.
Yeah.
So let's see if this works here. I haven't actually opened it yet.
Okay.
That's
Dragon
what packing
MMC
looks like.
version 3. Okay, cool.
This is an unboxing live on Discord, I guess.
Unboxing. It's not just live on
Unbagging.
Discord. It's live across the multiverse.
So yeah, this is what it looks like.
Tens of 11s of people are watching us right now. Oh, that is neat. So it's got an SD card. It's got the SD card shield on the side. It's got a battery. You mentioned this has a real-time clock too?
Yeah, it's got a battery for the real-time clock, which is I think right there.
Yeah, yeah.
But does it have a sound chip?
No, it does not.
Does it have a blinky light?
Not sure. I don't think so.
These are important components in any future Cocoa project for those wanting to know.
But it has an RTC.
Has a real-time clock, which is more than most Cocoa products have right now. So, real-time clock.
I believe it's got a serial port or something.
And then somebody was mentioning in the chat that there's one that would let you plug in a USB stick. That was Al Hartman.
Yeah, they have a GoTech cartridge that plugs into a Dragon as well.
Oh.
Basically a GoTech
Yeah, it's
plus
a floppy emulator
cartridge.
Do you still need a disk controller to plug that GoTech into?
No, it's all the guy who makes it actually built the GoTech into the controller.
Oh, so it's a disk controller GoTech all in one.
So they don't have very many disk controllers.
No, that's neat. Yeah. So I need to crack open my Dragon. Who I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was David, but somebody said the cable to take advantage of the composite out on the Dragon is the same as the Sega Genesis AV cable. Was that you, David? Am I correct in my recollection there?
Mine, I used an Atari cable.
Because I know the Commodore cable fits, but I don't think the lines are right, and you have to hack something. But I think the Sega one that David was telling me, if I remember correctly, if you get the Sega Genesis, it's got the DIN pin connection that's the same as what's on the Dragon, and the audio and video are already wired correctly, and you don't have to hack anything to make it work. So I'll have to confirm that, or get that confirmed for me. So you have a Dragon, Jason? You have a Tano? I'm taking it, the US one, or do you have a UK one?
I have both.
Oh, do you? Oh, neat. So I guess you have the power converter for that, for the 220 or 230, whatever it needs?
Yeah, I have a transformer for the Dragon 32. It needs to really have its power supply switched out with one that does 120 volts, though.
Is that an easy thing to do?
Probably not, but it might be fun.
Yeah. Do you have those kind of skills to change out things and?
No, I guess we'll try.
Oh, yeah, we can do it live on the air and see if any smoke comes out if you want.
Now, you'd only be the second person on the panel to do that today. But...
I got this guy recently too.
Direct Connect modem pack. Okay, that's neat.
The Wi-Fi modded.
Okay. Wi-Fi modded. So that has the ESP whatever in there?
Yep.
Okay.
Works pretty well.
Cool. What's the baud rate that runs at?
Well, I was running it on my Coco 2 with GE term at 9600.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, Al Hartman's putting a link to an eBay listing. Okay, that's the cable. Dragon 32 and Dragon 64 high quality RCA phono TV video cable lead new. And so this is what is Great Britain pounds? $6.98, approximately $8.75 United States. Now, if I go to buy this, is this going to be shipping from there? I don't want to pay like $900 in shipping for a $9 cable. How do I tell? Okay, shipping is approximately $1.88 US. Shit, I'm gonna hit buy now. I'm buying that son of a bitch. All right, so PayPal, confirm and pay. A total of $8.48 Great Britain pounds, including shipping. Confirm and pay. Boom. Cable has been purchased. Oh, you know the other thing I bought today on eBay? I don't buy a lot on eBay usually. I'm more of an Amazon person, but some of this retro stuff seems to be more prevalent on eBay. I got for about $50. It is a CGA to VGA converter, which I want to use for my Tandy 1000 that I got like a year or so ago that I've done. Another thing, things we have that we don't do anything with. This is yet another one of those things. So I want to be able to hook up my Tandy 1000 and run it through all my capture stuff so I can watch it on my PC and record stuff on it and stream from it and stuff. So hopefully in the near future, I'll be doing some of that kind of stuff. So cool stuff. Thanks for the link, Al Hartman. I just ordered that. Okay, Al says he bought one and it works great. Cool. All right. Well, boom. Buy it now. I love it. All right. And the funny thing is, I just told my wife, I just finished doing my taxes. I go, baby, I only bought like 4 things on eBay in the entire 2019. So I have my problem is under control. And I just bought 2 things on eBay in the past 24 hours. So, but they're little doodaddies. So it's not like buying whole more retro things that I have no room for. So. Curtis has left us. Everyone's muted and silent. So this show is going straight to the top, right? So, Terry, have you blown anything else up, Terry?
Well, what I have found is a replacement fuse.
Okay.
And it is Radio Shack.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if it's showing up correctly. It is a 0.315 amp fuse, and it is a 0.300 it's a 300 milliamp that I'm replacing. I just have to get it into the correct form factor.
Okay.
And we'll see if this thing actually gives us a disco cursor again.
Neat. All right, let us know when you're ready, and I'll maximize your video again.
We're about 5 minutes away.
T-minus 5 minutes and counting for liftoff.
All right.
So,
yeah, Mikey.
while you guys were talking, I was digging around through all my stuff, and I actually found the 6809 that was removed from one of my Coco 3s. So I think you guys know where that's going.
Is it going back in your Coco so you can play Digger? Or
it's going back. Yes, it is.
So you can grab.
It's going in my Coco 2.
Okay, there you go. Oh, because you've already put a 6309 even in your Coco 2.
The one that I have out right now actually came with it. So
oh, okay.
Actually, let's do Gunstar. Let's do Gunstar again.
Right. Yeah.
After we put 1609, we'll switch back to Gunstar.
My Coco 2 came from Carlos Camacho
with a
some number of years ago.
Okay.
And it came with a 6309.
Yeah. And mine has it too because I was trying some of Curtis's optimizations where he had some 6309 optimized stuff that could run even on a Coco 1 or 2. So I swapped mine out. So my current Coco that I'm using also has a, and I just don't feel like switching it out for Grabber. You know, I've got a chip that works, and I'm not going through a laborious process to play one game. But I'll play it on an emulator. But if Curtis can get Grabber fixed, that'd be even better. But in the meantime, I will play this week, and I'll play it on XRoar to get it going.
Yeah, I just tried one patch because I found something a little odd, but it didn't fix it, so I'm still plugging away.
No pressure, Curtis, but the entire week segment is on your shoulders. All right. You're like
I did find a cheat poke I'm not going to share with you guys, but anyway.
You're like that guy in Jurassic Park. Our lives are in your hands, and you've got butter fingers.
Curtis, if you can find where the highest score table is hard coded and change the bottom score to like 100 or something, that way people when they can maybe people will be able to
yeah, because that's what I heard. You can't get on the table unless you get a certain score that might not be in the realm of achievability.
Well, that's like most of the games back in the day if they had a built-in high score table.
Yeah,
that
so
was your plateaus.
If you see what that is and can change that, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I found out how to control how many men you get when you start as player 1 and player 2, but
yeah, let's not change that. Curtis is drunk with power.
So, Jason, what you been up to, man? Haven't heard from you in a while.
Mostly just working.
Yeah. I see you got all kinds of Coco stuff there in the background, so you keeping
I also acquired a couple of non-Coco things recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Don't know if you guys would be interested.
Of course, yeah. Look at all those Cocos in the background there. Ooh, Timex. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
I'd like to have one of those, honestly, just to have it, you know?
That's complete in box.
Yeah, that's neat.
A really rare one.
I hate how you enter basic in those.
How do you enter the basic in those?
Spare thing is.
You have to use keystroke combinations to enter the keywords. You don't just type them out.
Oh, kind of like the MC10 keyboard?
2068. I got one of those.
Oh, another Timex thing.
But I have the real rare one. Let me put this guy up.
That's basically a Spectrum with another graphics mode and different basic.
Nice.
Was it the Sinclairs that came out as a kit you could build yourself?
The original
Here's
one.
my rare guy.
That one did.
This is an NTSC CX80. That's a rare guy.
Wow.
That is unobtainium.
I picked it up at the flea market in the last 10 or 15 years. It wasn't that expensive.
Is this factory?
Yeah, there's no mods to this thing, so.
I would actually like to get a Spectrum.
I'll trade you my spare MC10 for it.
No, thank you. My French Canadian speaking MC10 is doing just fine, thanks.
That's right. It's worth extra for Canadian.
Yeah.
Maybe I can demonstrate using joysticks with MAME.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, actually, because I'm struggling with that right now.
Hey, let me start up sharing.
Does this also include how to get the ROMs working in MAME, or is that a whole separate presentation?
Separate.
Could you send me all the ROMs for MAME, please?
Sorry, just...
Okay, PT.
Share your screen.
All right, so Timbo Tech is sharing a screen. Okay, here we go. I see Disk Extended Color Basic running in MAME on a Mac.
Hey, so I have a USB joystick attached to my Mac.
Okay.
So what I want to show is getting it all set up, because it doesn't work exactly right by default. So let's go to Partial. Let's go to Tab. Let's go to Input Manager. And when using an analog joystick, the first thing I do is I want to remove all the increment and decrement keys from being listened to.
Okay.
And those are the keys on the keyboard that you can use to move the joystick around.
Okay. So you're just going to hit delete to clear those out?
So I'm going to hit delete to clear those out. All right. And then I have a dual shock joystick so that I can actually do both joysticks at the same time. So you see that it's auto-detected my joystick, but I'm going to clear out those other things. And I am just going to hit the delete key to clear it out.
Yep.
Then I'm going to hit the return key to sense. And I'm going to, on my right joystick, go up and down.
But that was for X analog, but you just mapped your Y analog to it. If
Yeah, you're right. I just did that wrong. So let me delete that.
Okay.
Hit the enter key to sense and go left and right. Okay.
All right. So just pause for 1 second. I want to just add some blow by blow here. So what you just highlighted is the right joystick X analog, right? And so you're basically mapping anything on the X axis to now the X axis on your USB controller. And there's other options, as you mentioned, as the increment and decrement, where you could make it, plus or minus, but you're just saying, I don't want to do that. I just want you to do a 1-to-1 mapping of whatever my X axis is on my physical stick, pipe that into MAME, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I'll continue down. Left, right, and up and down. And finally, I'll go back to the joystick buttons. The right button, I will clear all that out, and I'll hit the button that I want from my gamepad, and the button I want for the other one on my gamepad. All right, so I think that's a pretty good setup.
Now, quick question. Does this automatically save and remember it for the rest of time?
Yes.
Okay, so that gets saved into a config file somewhere in MAME, so you don't have to retweak this every time you boot up.
Yes, literally CoCo2b.cfg.
Okay, so that config file is saved, and it will always remember this controller option.
Yes, it will. So I have a little testing program.
Ooh.
And no buttons, but there's my right joystick, and it seems to be doing the proper thing.
Now, if you go into your hard left corner, can you get a 0-0? Because that's the problem I have with using like Xbox style sticks, is I can't get the quite 0-0 going into to the far corners.
Okay, now here's a bug. I'm going left, top left.
And it should be 0, not 63.
Right. That I don't know where that bug is, because if I do it on the other joystick, I get 0-0 just like I should.
Yeah.
I think this is a driver issue in my joystick.
Ah, okay.
I don't think that problem is in MAME.
Okay.
Because the code is shared among both joysticks, so it would be very difficult for one to be inverted.
Right. That makes sense.
And okay, so now let me. I'm going to change drivers, which means I'm going to remove this window.
Okay.
I don't know what's going to happen.
All right, let me know when you share again. I just closed your stream, so when you share again, I'll fire it up.
I gotta jump off. It's time for lunch.
All right, Mikey.
You're still on YouTube, right?
Yeah, we're still on YouTube. Thanks for your help with Pi Drivewire today. Appreciate it.
No problem. Enjoy it.
I will. Promise. Pinky swear.
Time to begin the trolling.
He's gonna troll us from YouTube now. Good. Jim isn't here, so we'll take whatever we can get.
I'll try my best.
All right, now I have a watch stream button for Timbo Tech. And here we go. It's coming in. This is cool that we can all share at any given time now through Discord here. The power of Discord. You don't know the power of Discord.
So I see you, but it looks like there's a problem with me sharing my screen.
Okay, I'm going to stop that. Yeah, it's still trying to connect, so I'm not sure. Maybe stop sharing and try it again.
Stop.
Okay, close stream.
Stop right there.
Share my screen. Okay, I'm going to bring it back up.
Okay, watch stream. There we go. Disk Extender Basic 2.1. So now you're on a CoCo 3.
I'm on a Coco 3 because I want to demonstrate all four
All
buttons.
4 buttons. Nice. Toy.
So we'll delete, put that one with that. Delete, put that one with that. Delete that button.
Yeah, now I have mentioned that because I know Malfunct Scott is working on a USB joystick to Coco adapter. And I think it would be cool to write a game. Oh, we got all the values and all the buttons here. Okay. So there's your 2 button presses. There's all 4 button presses.
All 4 button presses.
Yeah. And
I can show you a little bit of a problem with the increment and decrement keys. When I move this joystick, it reflects in the other joystick.
Ah.
That's one reason why you have to remove the increment decrement keys if you want a 2 joystick system.
Okay.
But that's what I wanted to show.
That's neat. That's neat. That is very cool. Yeah, I think it's probably time for me to do a MAME video because I've never done one. I've done a how to VCC and how to XOR video, years ago, but I never did a MAME one. So maybe I can do a MAME.
CoCoTALK number 12 was MAME.
Right, we did it on the show, but as far as like me doing my own little how-to videos as I've done in the past, I've never done one myself on how to set up MAME. So we should probably do that, how to set up MAME, how to put the ROMs in there, and how to map joysticks, and how to toggle between keyboard emulations.
So I'll try and get it.
Yeah, no, that's neat. That is neat. I mean, this is good. It's good for people to see that. MAME, there's different camps as far as what people like, and there's no right or wrong emulator. It's what works for you. But the statement made often about VCC is it's very user friendly, and that is absolutely true. And the same could be said about XROR. XROR is extremely user friendly. MAME, not quite so much, but it doesn't suck. It's not that hard. You saw what he did. He just hit tab and pulled up a pop-up menu and tweaked a few things. So it's not that hard. It doesn't have the cool.
I'd like to think it has a learning curve.
Yes.
Very steep learning curve.
I know one of the biggest beefs that a lot of beginners with MAME have is if they're trying to run on a laptop, because you're supposed to hit scroll lock to be able to do your partial full emulation, and there's no scroll lock on some of those laptop keyboards. So that's one of the biggest hurdles they hit right off the bat.
I know.
I could never figure out how to load a floppy image. Like I can get in, but I don't know how to get the floppy image.
When you press tab to bring up the menu, there's a file menu. And from the file menu, you can then load disk or cassette or ROM cartridge. So it's all there. There's a file explorer in the menu.
Yeah, file manager, I think.
File manager, yeah. So, and this is a plug for CoCoPi, but Ron Klein has really made MAME very easy to use through CoCoPi because he's also included a library. So you actually can scroll through the game you want to launch from a scrolling window of software, and then it launches that game for you because he's got all the disks put in a folder that MAME recognizes for its disk library. So when you pull up that file menu, not only everything is there.
MAME has something like that built in as well. The software list.
Yes, software list. Ron Klein has baked all that into the CoCoPi image. So when you run MAME on the CoCoPi and the Raspberry Pi, it's already pre-configured and the software is preloaded. So yeah. So that's probably a good project to do. I should work on a MAME video. How to set up MAME in 2020 to run a Coco.
You're too kind, and thank you.
Yeah, I use MAME all the time now. I've gotten over my learning curve to it, and I even have little batch files when I want to run different machines. So I've got one that just says CoCo2 I double-click that CoCo2 icon, and it loads up that machine for me, and it mounts disk images that I want it to mount and all that kind of stuff. So I've got a CoCo2 MAME batch file, CoCo3 MAME batch file. When I was working on Cosmic Aliens, I had one that automatically mounted the disk image for me, and I could just load it up and run it. So, I
do the same thing because I have like a EOU 6809 batch file that sets it up for 6809 and loads those appropriate images, and the same for the 6309.
Yeah,
I can even tell it to run like beta 5, beta 4 if I'm trying to backtrack a bug or something.
Yeah, and I know Bruce has even gotten further to where he gets it to where not only once it launches MAME, but then it also loads the software. So he passes keystrokes over to MAME where it boots up and it types in load M whatever :exec and fires it up for you. So
I just added a new feature to the Coco driver in MAME.
Oh yeah.
I added the Disto No Halt floppy controller.
Oh, neat.
It's an interesting device.
Neat. So since we have access to you and you are one of the main contributors, when it comes to some of the, for lack of a better term, non-standard hardware that does exist for the Coco, is there any rules or philosophies saying, oh, we don't want to emulate this because it didn't exist back in the day? So like I know they emulate the GMC now, but technically that chip existed back in the day. When it comes to these new things, like I know we're talking about emulating the Coco VGA, do the MAME people care that this is a new product as long as it's a real product?
No, I seem to have a really good relationship with the devs. As long as I'm not modifying the core, I can add pretty much anything I'm able to add.
Okay.
Are you working on the Gimme X when it comes out?
I'm thinking about it.
Well,
I've never done anything with the video system or the memory system, so it's part of the code base that I would have to learn more about.
And I would assume you would need Ed Snyder's permission to do that, right?
Oh no, Ed's asked people if they can emulate it. So
oh really?
Okay.
Okay.
Just because he wants to encourage developers to use it, even if you don't have the prototype boards from the first run when they come out.
Okay.
Just to
that's very
software running up before it comes out.
It's extremely magnanimous.
Yeah. Now, of course, that's going to be a moving target because they're still, debugging the firmware on it, which is why the beta board's going out. So,
what about the
contrast
issue?
Start until I saw the documentation.
Somebody was asking a question about who asked the question about the contrast issue.
Sorry, it's Rob. I had a question about starting small with that contrast issue. With MAME, it's really just the contrast turned down, and it gives you that washed out look. I was wondering if Tim had any thoughts on fixing that.
Which driver are you talking about?
I'm talking about the MAME screen that is all washed out and overbright.
Are you talking composite or RGB?
I'm talking about in your browser. I'm just the entire screen. Stevie's commented on this.
You're talking about I think it's the no filter thing he's talking about, Tim, where it tries to emulate the TV for the Coco 2, and it does look kind of washed out. It's
I was playing
just up on the screen.
I turned off the no filter, and I didn't see any difference in the Coco
I don't
2.
think that no filter argument works anymore. I know in the past I was using that because you're the one who told me about that one way back when.
Because I like crisp pixels and dark pixels.
Yeah. And currently on a Coco 1 or 2 in MAME, it's not giving you that no filter capability, so it does have that kind of soft glow to it.
Let me poke around my MAME INI for a little bit and see if I can come up with a solution.
Okay.
I ran it through a capture, and all I did was adjust the contrast, and it was totally fixed. So I don't know if it's the filter or what.
Interesting. Terry, you ready to blow shit up? You're muted.
He blew his mic up.
There we go. I'm muted. Sorry.
It's okay.
Let's go ahead and give this thing a try.
Right.
So I replaced the and I'm not going to touch this over here. I replaced that fuse with a jerry-rigged fuse holder and another fuse.
Okay.
And we're looking at the output of our regulator circuit over here rigged up, and we have 0 volts. And if we have 5 volts, we're good. If we have smoke, it's bad. If we have continue to have no volts, also not good. I was not expecting the fuse on the transformer to blow. That was really unexpected. So let's see here. Hey, 4.9 volts, and that's expected. That's about right. So looks like we've got a living Coco 2. I don't have a television on this side of the house, and or in this part of the workbench, so I have to take it out to another area on the other side of this wall over here where I've got a TV mounted out in my garage to actually make sure that it's working. Looking at the voltages there, it looks like it's good. So
you've basically breadboarded a salt chip on that white thing off to the side there.
Well, this over here is just the regulator portion of that, and apparently I didn't do it very good because it should have shut down and not blown the input transform.
Okay.
It really should not have. A little confused by that, but I'll figure it out. Most likely the transistor that I'm using to determine the short, which looks across R1 in the CoCo2, I need something with more gain. So we'll see. We'll see what we come
neat.
up with.
That's
there.
cool though, man. That's neat. This is like definitely mad scientist laboratory type stuff in action here, huh?
Yeah. I mean, whenever you don't really care about the hardware that much.
You know what you might want to look for, because you mentioned you don't have a TV in there. One of the greatest, when I first bought one of my first 1 or 2 CoCos on eBay, eons ago, one of them came with a TV. And this was a small flat panel, like maybe 15-inch screen, flat panel, quote unquote real TV, but it had the RF input. It had like, coaxial inputs and stuff like that. So I've got a very small, like computer monitor size TV with the channel 3, channel 4 stuff that I can use on my CoCos, and it doesn't take up a lot of room. So you could probably find one of those things at Goodwill and have that on your bench and not have it take up a lot of space.
I think I need one.
Yeah.
Because it's just rough to pick all of this up, and it's all, it's just jerry-rigged together right now. And take it somewhere else to actually see if it fires up and clicks. But I agree. That's what I need in here. I mean, I have composite, I have component, I have everything else in here.
Except for RF, right?
Except for RF,
yeah.
One of the things that I looked at, I actually purchased some chips to take the component video that goes into the RF modulator on the CoCo2 and see if I could just take it, amplify it, and plug it into the component video on the monitor. But that comes next after I can get this salt thing sorted out and get the RAM upgrade done.
Neat. What part of the country are you in?
I'm just outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. I need people close to me who can do this kind of crap for me, because I usually have to come to CoCoFest or VCF to get some soldering and electronic talent to assist me. I need a neighbor. You feel like moving to Florida?
Oh, I would love to, man. Absolutely. About 2 seconds.
I need a freaking soldering capable neighbor, man. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Give me a second here. I'll drop off. I'll take this thing out there. We'll plug it up. I'll grab the laptop, take it with me, and we'll see.
Cool. We'll see it show up on the screen. Yeah. Neato.
All right, cool. Yeah, give me about 5 minutes.
No problem.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Thanks for sharing.
Since Curtis is here, I wanted to share one other thing.
Yeah. Let me make your screen. Hold on one second, Jason. Let me make it bigger. Hold on. Hold it up and hold it up again, and just wait for a second, because it seems like Discord pixelates for a minute before it focuses. Hold it there. Give me just a second.
Oh, I recognize that.
We're still pixelated. I can't see it too well.
That's a Frank Hogg Eliminator.
Okay. Yeah. On mine, it's a little pixely. Is that just me, or is anybody else seeing it that way?
Oh, it's pixelated here too.
Yeah. So
I want to get that thing refurbished and cables made, and see if I can at least get the floppy controller part of it working in OS 9 again.
You have a WD-100205 controller? Oh, you do? Okay.
He sent me the interface board too.
What the hell is that?
Yeah, that's the thing you can hook. That's the main Western Digital controller board that actually will control up to 3 hard drives and 4 floppies at the same time.
And then you use that Frank Hogg thing to interface with that?
Yep.
Does the Eliminator, doesn't it need a ST506?
Yeah, it's MFM for the hard drive.
Yeah, it's MFM.
Wow.
There's a modification satellite board you can build to handle high density drives on it, though, for floppies.
Nice.
You're subbing for David, are you?
Yes, you mentioned floppy.
Really?
Well,
That is sounding really creepy today because you're siloning.
Oh, my siloning?
You weren't here, but
okay.
Plus, it has 2 high-speed serial ports, a real-time clock, a parallel port, auto boot ROM, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's a cool device.
Neat.
That will definitely be fun to get working again.
Yeah, it's not very often I get to say this, but I feel like I have been fairly Coco productive as of recently. Now I'm getting caught up and able to use some of this quarantine time for actual projects. I've gotten a few things done like DriveWire and a few other things. So I'm looking forward to more quality Coco project time in the coming weeks, hopefully. Please stand by. Is that Terry? Is on the please stand by? Yeah. He's got a pretty cool setup. He must be using OBS or something like that too, how he can switch through his cameras and stuff. Yeah, I like that old TV logo thing there too. Please stand by.
Yeah, Grabber's definitely got some weird code in here. It almost looks like he's got one chunk here using that old Bill Gates trick. If you disassemble it white and white off, you have a different routine it runs. I'm not sure if that was on purpose or if that's from somebody trying to patch the cassette version to disc and start trying to figure out what the hell path it's supposed to be taking. But there might be, something like this might be related to the bug.
Something I was thinking about, and I got a few of you guys here I can bounce this idea off of, because we have like guys like Nick Marentes who crank out stuff, and you got Curtis, you're working on your ease of use right now, and we even have like Robert who's working on a project. How do you guys stay on target with your project? How do you not lose focus or lose motivation? Is it just something I lack because I find I get distracted and discouraged, and it's hard for me to complete anything, and I'm just wondering how the guys who actually get stuff done manage to do it.
I'll throw in an initial thought. I use a working folder where I keep a project log, and in the project log I put the list of all the stuff I want to get done, and then I separate it out into like the stuff that's shortest path to get to the original goal, and then all the others, the nice to haves, the could be's, the pie in the sky stuff, and then just take the next item and start working on it, and take the next item and start working on it. And occasionally you'll sit down and you'll hit a roadblock or something. You might reshuffle the order of things, but just all you have to do is keep going back to the list.
Okay, so you're basically using a checklist approach.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. And then
I do something similar, like in the case of Nitrous 9, I have like, beta 5 goals. I have a little text file, and unfortunately I keep adding to it as I'm going to, because I'll think of things. But they're not really meant to be hard goals. Like, I'm not going to release beta 5 until this happens. So they get moved into beta 6, then some of those get moved to beta 7, etc.
Yeah.
So I'll try tackling one or two, and like he mentioned, that we might occasionally pick a nice easy one and go, I accomplished something today. And there's some others that you'll try and you'll fight with it for a couple of days, and then I just get frustrated, and then you just say, I'm going on to something else. I'm just leaving that one for now.
Yeah.
And then sometimes just having that break for a while, when you come back to it with a fresh set of eyes and you kind of forgotten what you were trying to accomplish or how you were trying to accomplish it, all of a sudden you get that magical moment where, I can do it this way, and that fixes it. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you come back and you're still just as frustrated as the first time. So sometimes you just have to take breaks from it. I know Nick tends to do little sub projects that he throws in, like a waterfall or something like that, just to kind of get your mind off. Because sometimes just looking at it fresh totally resets your brain as to how you're doing it, because you get stuck in a rut trying to solve it one way and you can't.
Yeah.
And that happens to me too. So that's one tip I would say. Just have little sub projects. Don't concentrate on the one thing. If you're getting too frustrated and flustered, go on to something else for a while. You don't have to do it right now. There's no deadline.
Okay.
It's all got to be driven by commitment as well. If you're committed to a project, like in your mind, you're committed, I'm going to finish this, and I'm going to finish it, within the next 3 years, say.
Yeah, okay.
I also say that Wintergaden had an excellent video about staying productive recently.
Who's that?
Wintergaden is a YouTuber building a marble music machine.
Okay.
And his previous video is an amazing inspirational video about staying on target.
Okay.
Really recommend. I can put the link somewhere.
Yeah, please.
And advertising what you're doing to other people, like the way Nick does with his blog, or what I'm trying to do, Nick blog style, also kind of creates that, well, now I've put it out there that I'm going to do this, that can be motivational for actually getting back into, you hit a blocker and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, but I've already kind of told people I'm doing it.
See, that particular thing does not work with me. I just feel guilty that I can't get the stupid thing done, and then I get more flustered. So
that's the only thing that does work with me. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
You guys must be more motivated than me, because if I advertise stuff, I just feel bad that I don't get it done.
Well,
and
you have been, in a way, you have been advertising that you're working on ease of use, and that we're
I'm advertising working on, but I don't usually give specific goals. Like, I'm going to get this done and this done and this done. There's a few specific ones I might do where I know I can get it done. I just have to take the time to do it. But there's other pie in the sky things I'm working on. I'm not promising anybody and not telling anybody what those projects are, because I don't know if I can do them. And I don't want to, commit myself and then get mad at myself because I can't.
Not bite off more than you can chew.
Right.
I know Curtis has a problem. Oh, I'll do that, and I'll do that, and I'll update that, and I'll do this, and before you know it, you got a plethora of projects, and you're just inundated. So you've got to pretty well say, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to do anything more until I finish that one thing, and then move on sequentially.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of the reasons I actually have all these backup projects, because if I concentrate on one or two like that hardcore, and I get flustered because I can't figure out how to solve something, I'll just drop it, and that doesn't get anything accomplished. And I do find that just having that fresh perspective of going back to it a week, 2 weeks, a month later, sometimes is all I need to solve it, because then my brain's not thinking on that one rut it got stuck on. And that's happened to me numerous times, like even from the commercial days of Nitrous 9 back in the 90s. That happened to me. Now, maybe that's uniquely me. I don't know. I think everybody's a little bit different. So I don't think there's one hardcore rule that's going to solve it for everybody. How to keep motivated, I think it depends on the person and what their personality is.
Well, that, and with the blog thing, if you're not putting what you plan to do, but instead summarizing where you've gotten to date, then I think that might avoid some of what you're talking about, Curtis, because that's what I'm trying to do, is rather than say, okay, in the next month, I'm going to get this, this, and this done. I don't know what I'm going to get done because I don't know where my brain's going to take me. But instead I say, well, in the last month, this is what I got done. And then other people are like, hey, there, cool. That's, I can look at this or whatever. Then you get the kind of the motivation of that you've made a promise, but you're not making a promise for a thing that you haven't already delivered, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess it does. Like in my personal case here, I hate writing documentation and blogs and stuff. So you'll never see me write a blog about what I'm doing on anything I ever do, because it just, to me personally,
that's like work. That's work on top of work, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you'll never see that from me. I mean, the closest thing you'll see is release notes after I'm finished everything that's in the release.
Right. Everybody hold their thought for 1 second. Terry, you ready to turn it on to see if we can see what we can see?
Yeah, let's see what we can see.
All
right. So I got it over here. I've got it in the big, glorious, ugly garage.
Holy crap! You got some space in there, dude. You got some serious space in there.
We got some room up here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Is that a garage or an airport hangar or something? I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, no, this is just a little garage out here with a disco ball. I've got my, let's see, where's it at? There we go. There's my big
there you go.
Ball.
Boom.
All right, well, let's give this thing a try. We are plugged up. Click. And hey.
Look at that. Now, who was the one who did the video where they were touching something and the freaking cursor was changing? Was that you too? That
was you.
Yeah, that was me as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like someone spilled something over here on the video display generator. And everything, all of the pins over there looked like they were turquoise. So obviously something corrosive got poured in there. It was probably from a cat, is my guess, because there's cat hairs all in this thing.
Some urine, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's cool. The thing kills me is the extended color basic that's in here is one that I robbed from my original Color Computer 1. And, it's like whenever I decided that thing needed to go away, it's like I'll just rob some of these chips. Maybe they'll come in handy. So I still have like an extra. I got a SAM chip and extra 6809 and a couple other things that were all socketed on that.
Nice.
But yay! All right. Well, we didn't blow anything up, but other than a fuse, which
nice. Well, the fuse did its job. It took one for the team.
It did. It did. Unfortunately, I don't know if my regulator design is working right or not. But you know what? I guess in a way, sort of it is. It absolutely brought that voltage down whenever it's shorted out, but probably not enough to keep the fuse on the transformer from blowing. I was kind of hoping they would do that, but I mean, the circuit's going to oscillate, so I don't know. But we can put all of this in there. Maybe I'll just get a higher gain transistor and put on that. Maybe we'll do 1 or 2 more experiments with it, and then we'll just go ahead and do a board layout for this thing. And well, first off, I guess I need to do the parts of it where it has a comparator that's used for the bitbanger and cassette cross zero sensing. And it's a very simple circuit. So we'll put that together. We'll put it on a scope, see if it looks the way that it's supposed to. So one thing I love about the documentation on the CoCos, those service manuals are really well, especially the CoCo 2 and the CoCo 1.
Yeah.
They are really well detailed and give good circuit explanation as well as showing you certain procedures and what the waveform should look like for like the cassette input and those kinds of things.
Wow.
I'm sure by the time CoCo 3 came around, that wasn't a huge concern to them. But it's pretty nice what they have.
Yeah, that is cool. That's neat. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. That was really neat to see.
Sure.
We have been joined by the author and creator of Nightmare Highway. It's a game, it's a song, it's a music video. Ken Reichert's been here. How you doing, Ken? He has unmuted himself, but we haven't. Ken Reichert, do you copy? All right, hopefully more from him. Yeah, like I have been trying to work on a couple of games in BASIC for years and have not really brought any of them to the finish line. I think I'm kind of close with Kabam at this point. I know there's a few things left I have to do in there. And now that I've actually gotten this whole dry wire thing worked out, it'll do it. I think in general for me, and this is not even just CoCo related, this is just me and anything. I am a professional procrastinator. I put everything off to the absolute last possible minute. And I will intentionally and psychologically and unconsciously avoid anything that I don't want to do. And I just avoid it and I don't do it. And I wait till I have to do it before I do it. This is me having to file taxes. This is me having to do anything. Anything that is uncomfortable or is not fun, I just don't do. And I avoid it forever. So like when I start a game, I have all these ideas. And usually when you start something in your first week or two, everything you do is a milestone. Every new line you type in is a new thing you've added. And so there's a huge initial inertia of getting a lot of things done. And then you're kind of at that core of the engine. And now like, okay, the hard work is done. Now I have to create features. Now I have to think and I have to test and I have to try. And now it's gone from the fun, explosive, oh my God, this is so cool, to now I actually have to do work. And now that it's work, now it's not fun. So now I'm going to put it off and again, procrastinate until forever, because I only like to do things that are fun and easy. And once it stops becoming easy, it stops becoming fun. And I just don't want to do it anymore. That is just me. That has been me my entire life. And I wish I could be a better person than that. And so that affects me getting anything done anywhere in the world in my life, and especially on working on stuff on the CoCo. So I know that about me. So it's no mystery. I've already analyzed this myself. I know the problem. I know the solution, but I'm incapable of crossing that threshold.
So, Stevie, one thing that gets me is when you build a giant list of stuff that you want, that list itself can be the reason to procrastinate, because it seems like there's just so much there left to do. Instead, I try to just keep a list of, say, the next 1 to 3 things and only focus on that one next step. And you get further than you realize.
Yeah.
And you look up and you go, oh, wow, I've just been doing one step at a time, but now here's where I'm at. Oh, holy crud, this is great.
Yeah.
And that can be that boost in the deep part of the slog, which is, I think, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just focus on your feet one step at a time, and just, okay, what's the next problem to solve? What's the next problem to solve? And then occasionally surface and look up and go, oh yeah, I'm this far down the list. Wow.
Break up projects into a to-do list. If there's something I absolutely want to finish, I do it just like I do for work. I set up, okay, what are the things I need to do? I pick one, and then if I have to, I break that up into more items, and I just start knocking them off the list.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I get in my own head and I create all these psychological barriers where I say, oh, this is just going to be work. It's going to be time consuming. So I've already kind of told myself consciously or subconsciously, this is going to be more work than I want to do. So I'll put it off for some other time. And then I just never get around to it. You know, I don't even create lists. I don't have a list for my program. I just know what I want to do, but I don't even write it down. I know there's 3 things left I need to do in Kabam, and I know what they are. You know, I have 3 more features I need to add, and then I'll be done. I don't have to write them down. But the fact, even if I had everything written down, I still psych myself out, because the minute I get to the minute I cross that line where it's no longer fun and easy, now I have to think or work or spend more time. I've psychologically already said, it's something I'm not motivated to do anytime soon. You know, that's just one of my many flaws.
I've found that writing it down is a bit more of a commitment than just making up the list to begin with.
Okay.
But, you know, if you're not, you can ignore the list even if it's written down. It depends on how you are. But
yeah.
But that's with me anyway. It seems like more of a commitment to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ken, are you there? Ken Reichert, do you copy? I saw his mic icon come.
He has stepped away.
Yeah. So it's like I get inspired, or at least I appreciate the fact there's so many people out there who do all these things. There's people making games and people making programs and people releasing hardware and all these things. So I like the fact that there are people who actually complete things, because it gives us stuff to talk about on the show and it gives us stuff to buy or to use. So I love the fact there are lots of people out there who complete their projects and finish, bring them to the finish line. And so on the one hand, that gives me inspiration and gives me joy. On the other hand, it just reminds me of what a loser I am. And I can't get anything done myself. It's like, man, all these functional adults who complete things they started, and I'm this loser who just can't do anything.
I'm going to sit down and work on this today. And
actually, Steve, I'm kind of in the same boat. And I mean, Nick and I have discussed this because Nick keeps bugging me to try to write a game. I mean, back in the 80s and 90s, I had this drive to create brand new programs, and I did games, in basic and, little assembly routines when I was like my teenage 25 years old. But now I don't like doing all the work of figuring all that stuff out, which is why I keep modifying existing programs. I like taking other people's programs and improving them because they've done all the hard work. I just have to figure out how to speed it up.
Yeah.
And that to me is something I can feel I can accomplish, like patch a game that's not working, or speed up the graphics driver or whatever. But I haven't had to do all the hard work of designing it and programming it originally. So I've been helping Nick, occasionally optimize some of his stuff for Gunstar and for his upcoming project. But I don't have the drive to actually go through and design the game and do all the logic and the AI and all that.
Yeah. Hey, Paul Fiscarelli is saying hi on YouTube live chat. Hey, Paul Fiscarelli, how you doing? We're on Discord live, Paul, if you want to jump over here and join us on Discord for the stream. Yeah, it's like I'm really good at ideas. I got lots of ideas. Here's something I want to do. Here's a new project idea. And so I'm really good at coming up with the ideas, and I'm even good at starting them off and kind of getting the proof of concept going. And that's when I kind of run out of gas, because then it goes from
You'd rather be the designer than the grunt.
Yeah, maybe. And then so to that end, Curtis, when you talk about you don't want to build the game from scratch, but let's say you had an idea for a game. How do you feel about using one of these game engine tools like the AGD or these other things to take this stuff and just put in your artwork and your stuff into an existing tool to get it out there?
If I could come up with an original game idea, I might do that. But that's one of the things I've lost over the years, is that creative spark. And I program games like once every 1 or 2 months when I was young, even more than that, really young. And nowadays, like I just don't have it.
Yeah.
And when you get older, everything starts looking familiar, and you want a new game, and it's like, no, that's like this. No, that's like that. No, that.
Yeah, but look at Gunstar. Gunstar is like a million other shooting genre games, but it's Nick's version of that genre, and it's fun and it's a good game. So it's almost impossible. Like I forgot there's a saying for it, but there are no new ideas, right? Because everything's been thought of before, everything's been done before. It's just your take on that thing.
Yeah, truly original is hard to do.
Yeah, this is true with movies or stories or TV shows or video games or music, God forbid, whatever they call that shit they're playing on the radio nowadays. So it's just
auto-tune is what I call it. But no, go ahead.
So yeah, it's really hard, but and so it's always neat.
Very forgettable.
And so the idea, my next project idea, but I'm not going to start another project until I'm in conjunction with learning a new language. So I know I'm going to finish Kabam. I think I got maybe 2 weeks worth of keyboard hackery to finish even though it's not in writing. I had feature lists and checklists, whatever you want to call it. I know what I want the game to be before that game is done, and then I'm not going to worry about the fact that it's slow, because I could spend the rest of eternity trying to make basic faster, and I'm just preventing myself from learning that.
Just hardware upgrades. People should either get the Gimme X.
Yeah. So I'm thinking in 2 weeks I'll have Kabam done, and this will be the first thing I've ever started and finished, other than like CoCoTALK, but that's something that technically never finishes. But I guess then I finish videos, right? So I have done a few videos, like those videos I put out this week. So there are things I can do. But yeah, I want to finish Kabam and I want to learn a language. And then the next project I want to do has been inspired by the stuff that you've been showing off, Curtis, where you've showed off all those dragon text adventure games where they added something else to that format, where it's not just the normal text scrolling and cursor input, but there's status readouts, or there's like room coordinates, or just something else. So I saw that, and that has really stuck with me, and that struck a chord with me. So my next project, I'm thinking out loud, is that in addition to learning a new language, I want to use the knowledge of that language to write what I'll call a text adventure plus. It's going to be basically a text adventure, but with some type of status bar on the top of the screen that doesn't go away. And I'm thinking about adding things like RPG elements of armor class and hit points and weight carrying capacities. So you can't carry everything. When you type in inventory, you're not going to see 400 things. Everything will have a weight next to it. You can carry so much based on your strength and all that kind of stuff. So I want to have like RPG elements to a traditional text adventure. So that's as far as I've conceived it in my mind, but that's something I want to do next. But
and back in the 80s, when I actually did have original ideas, when I did Ring Quest for the Rainbow Second Adventure Contest, that's kind of what I did. There was an existing framework of a text adventure game by George Mervis, published in the August 1982 Rainbow. And it was basically a skeletal thing. You could just add if-then statements and add objects. They had arrays to do rooms and objects and stuff like that. And I took that and I decided, well, how about if I add another array to it for each room and for each object that is actually just a draw statement. The text of a draw statement saying you move up 5, turn right, draw 5.
Yeah.
And that's how I drew the rooms and the monsters. They were just basically draw OB string sub 5 for the 5th object.
Okay.
And that was a really nice innovative thing, and it actually made it a bit more kind of like you're talking about, making it go past the standard text event. It didn't add much to the gameplay except it was graphical, but it was kind of cool, and it worked really simple and easy. That was one of the last original ideas I ever had.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this: when you had this creative, you mentioned in the 80s and the 90s when you have creativity, was cannabis at all involved in the assistance of this creativity?
That might have actually deadened it, because I tried it afterwards, and then everything went downhill from there. So
say, whoa, man.
Because now it's legal.
Yeah. Is that Ken Reichert?
I haven't touched this stuff in decades.
Hey,
but
you finally hear me?
I can finally hear you. Mayday! It sounds like you're in an AM radio and a burning plane crashing to Earth. But yeah, we can hear you.
I'm using my probably
Houston,
you're breaking up.
Houston, we have a problem.
Stop watching Netflix on the TV there.
Yeah, like I have no shortage of ideas. It's just the being able to stay motivated and committed. Like I think Nick said, you got to be committed to it, right? So,
yeah, I'm actually envious of that, because, like I said, the creative side of me is something that has died over the years somewhat. I mean, some people think some of the stuff I've done Nitrous 9 is creative, but it's not really. I mean, some of the things that were done even in this last release are stuff that I designed back in the 90s when we were doing the original commercial project that it just never got to. And some of it's suggestions that people have made. Maybe I've tweaked the suggestion so it's not exactly the same, but as far as a completely original thought going into it, not really.
Well, I think you're being probably harder on yourself than you should be, and I think a lot of us do that. We take our own stuff for granted. But yeah, no, I'm sure there's plenty of creative things you've done. I mean, there's just the fact that you're doing it and you're committed to it in itself is good, right? So
I'm committed to it in bursts. Like I'm a little bit burnt out on it now. So basically, this next month I'll be concentrating the games page after this grabber thing, if I can figure that out first.
Yeah,
and doing bug fixes. I might do a little bit for the Gimme X prototype board type thing. Bill and I've discussed that, and I've got a list of plans and stuff. And me and Bill have kind of divided some tasks for it, but I'm not personally going to touch it for a while because I really was pushing hard the last couple weeks to make the end of the month.
Yeah,
going till 5 a.m. and then having a 3-hour nap and then getting back to it.
Yeah.
And
I in a way that kind of pushed me too to get Kabam to a showable point too for our virtual Coco Fest, because that was something I would have had ready for Coco Fest. Again, I do everything at the last minute, so it probably would have been the days leading up to getting on the plane. I would have worked on it. In this case here, it was the days and hours and minutes leading up to the stream. But yeah, so I think
that was my input. Now, if I'd been gotten it ready for Coco Fest, I wouldn't have put everything in there that got in there.
So like that extra time,
I had that extra 2 weeks,
yeah,
where I gave myself, to the end of April, and then I was getting close to having the stuff done I wanted to. There was one of those ones I just stepped back from because it was just I couldn't get it done, and it was really starting to bug me. So I started doing some extra things that were on the list for for beta 6 or beta 7 or whatever, and I threw those in. So a few things that weren't originally planned for Coco Fest got into the official release. And I did finally manage to solve the whole VDG thing that had been bugging me for a while. So,
yeah, and Paul Fiscarelli has joined us.
Midnight Oil to do it.
Yeah, Paulie, how you doing?
Everyone's sleeping today.
Yeah, yo, Paulie.
Not everyone is sleeping.
No, David just woke up again. All right.
Really,
David.
Hey guys, I got to run, but it's been a pleasure, Steve.
Yeah.
Curtis, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Take it easy, Terry.
Feel free to hop on anytime.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, man. Ken Record says, I never get around to procrastinating. Yeah. I mean, I know you're kind of beating yourself up a little bit, Curtis, but you definitely get things done. So you're delivering. You stay committed. You get it done. So whether or not you agree on how creative you are, you're at least committed. I think.
No, I think I accomplished things, but I'm modifying other people's code. That creative spark to create the initial code from scratch in the first place, or the initial concept in the first place. That's the part that I just don't seem to have as much anymore. Taking a look at something, going, I can fix that or improve it or speed it up or add a feature.
And honestly, that
I have no problem.
That is still a very important skill, right. and that's still very necessary and very valuable in the world.
Well, I agree. I just that when I watch you just come up with a game from scratch or a concept from scratch, it's like, why couldn't I do that? And same with Nick. I mean, Nick will come up with stuff in Gunstar. I mean, yeah, it's a 2D scrolling shooter, which is a generic concept, but he throws in his own little tweaks and stuff that are original.
Yeah, like the glyphs.
And I can't even do that anymore.
Those freaking glyphs.
Maybe you need to get back on the marijuana.
Yeah, get on the marijuana, Chris. Curtis. Yeah.
No, I had creativity before I tried that. Afterwards, I haven't. So I'm beginning to think it might have permanently damaged my brain.
Yeah. The only thing that does for me is make me tired, and I can just eat food and accomplish the same goals there. So
if my goal is to eat an entire large bag of Cheetos, then
I can smoke weed or eat a sandwich, and either one's going to make me want to take a nap. So, oh man, I need auto. Oh, Ken Reichert says I need auto accidents for inspiration. Apparently, Polly, are you there?
Here, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. Yeah, how you doing?
How you guys doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Just got done fixing a water softener. I have my project for the day.
Ah, neat. How's your keyboard and joystick adapters going? I saw a few people that have gotten the kits and stuff. Is that taken off?
Yeah, pretty good. A few people picked up the joystick or the keyboard kits. Still working on putting together the joystick stuff, modifying the design just slightly, just making a slight tweak to it, and hopefully have those available within the next couple of weeks. But still testing those. But people that have gotten the keyboard kits have giving me some good feedback. So it's good to hear that people are using them and figuring out a use for them. I think the majority of folks are trying to pair them with a Raspberry Pi, putting them into like a Coco case, or just taking advantage of a spare color computer keyboard that they've got lying around.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to do that as soon as I get back to storage and pull my broken Coco 2 out.
Neat. Yeah, those are some neat projects. And I'm also looking forward to the one that Scott was working on, where we can plug a USB joystick into our Coco. I think that would help a lot of people in a lot of areas, because there's certain games where the Black Beauty is too much, Deluxe is not enough, and something like an Xbox or PlayStation controller might be just right for some of these games. It'll be that Goldilocks controller, So,
yeah. Quick aside here, Tim Lynn, are you still on the call?
I think he left.
His face is still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay.
Right. There's a question from Eric Canales in Discord there. How do you set the MPI switch in MAME? Is it possible to do it from the command line? I don't know the answer to that. Do you?
No, it's not possible to do from the command line. It has to be done from the GUI.
Okay. I will let him know. Thanks.
But
sorry.
When the GUI saves out the XML configuration file, you can edit the XML configuration file.
Okay.
And something we haven't talked about, and I don't know if we're crossing any invisible lines here, but in addition to MAME, there's the MAME, what was it called, MAME GUI, or GUI MAME or something like that. There's that third-party plugin that add... What's that?
Mess UI.
Yeah, MAME UI or Mess UI, right? So they have both of those. And that adds a title bar, a menu bar on top of things, and there are some things you can do from that menu bar, including pulling up disk images or swapping cartridges, and so that UI that you can get, I believe that unfortunately is Windows only, but I think that is a nice compromise to make MAME a little bit more VCC or XROR like, by just having that extra little menu bar across the top that gives you quick access to certain functions without having to pull up the vertical UI menu from the normal main thing. Yeah, I've been a MAME person for a while, and I'm not technical, and I'm not CLI. I'm not a fan of typing when I don't have to, or using a command prompt at all. But I've crossed over to using MAME, and I use MAME for just about everything, just because it just seems to work. So.
Yeah, I mean, once I got it, I mean, I had a little bit of initial setup issues doing it too, and I pretty well gave up doing it on the laptop, because you have to keep redefining the keyboard, because some of the keys that MAME uses for the UI are missing. You don't have them handy on there.
And so what you guys were mentioning earlier about the scroll lock or the function lock or whatever it is, right? So all of those things can be remapped too. So one of the things I had to do was that the break key by default is mapped to the escape key, which is also the exit MAME button, right? So you can tweak a lot of these things to where you can remap break or remap escape to just be break and not exit out of the whole thing.
Now, did you remap these in the MAME GUI itself? Through the menu, or did you actually find the XML file and try to change
I didn't do it. I just did it for this machine and mapping, and I did it that way. So
because the catch-22 for beginner users of MAME is that you go in the MAME GUI and you can remap the keys so that you can probably do it on a laptop keyboard, but you can't hit the first key to let you get into the menu.
Right. So then what you would have to do is then maybe get a USB keyboard plug into your laptop, and
but not everybody has that. I mean, I do personally, but a lot of the beginner questions of MAME, that's the type of things that get.
No, but. But listen, there's a solution for everything, and yeah. So if you only have a laptop, and this is your biggest problem, that your laptop doesn't have that one key, well, guess what? There's a $10 fix. Buy a cheap ass USB keyboard and shut the F up. So.
Well, or better yet, just maybe some instructions like if you edit this XML file.
That's true. Oh yeah,
that's
true. No, that's a good point. That's a good point, right? If you don't,
that should be upfront documentation for MAME type thing.
If you don't have,
I just want to say you don't have to edit the XML file to change the UI mode key. It's inside MAME ini.
MAME ini. So that's just
okay.
A normal
whatever file. There should be some directions, because a lot of people hit that problem. I get lots of questions about it, and different laptops have slightly different keyboards, and they want this certain key to do it, and then another laptop doesn't have that key either. So.
Okay.
Is there anyone who actually works on the UI in MAME? I mean, it's an obvious problem with MAME, so I would have thought that whoever does the UI, that should be improved. I mean, it doesn't seem to ever change. It's been the same UI for so long. So is there anyone actually working on the UI?
You have to understand that they like the UI the way it is.
Okay, they like it, but so many other people don't. So.
Yeah, you got to pick your poison, though. Would you rather have a rock-solid emulator and deal with that, or spend all the time on the window dressing?
They can still have that. The UI, it's above all that. So they got a UI, an emulator that works. It's just the UI at the top for everyone to use that seems to be the problem that new users.
I mean, the fact that there is a MAME UI front end that people have added on to make it palpable kind of explains that, no, this isn't really liked by everybody, or people wouldn't bother coming up with a replacement for it.
Yeah, and you also have to remember where it has its roots. I mean, it's basically a multi-arcade machine emulator. So the front end was the actual arcade cabinet front end. So having this front end for consoles and that sort of thing kind of came after the fact. So
even as the front end for arcade, it's not very good. There's so many other better ones out there that you can add on for an arcade.
Yeah, I think myself personally, I think it's more they're stuck with the tradition of it, because I mean that's the same excuse as saying, well, why didn't you stick with the Windows 1.0 GUI?
Yeah, I mean, if you know, if I had to say what would be more important to me, if I would much rather them stay focused on making sure the emulation is rock solid and the compatibility is there and adding new features. And if there's a finite amount of people and a finite amount of resources and time that can be done to this, and you know, nobody's paying for it, nobody's getting paid to do it, I'd rather them focus on the back end and deal with the shortcomings in the front end, because I am capable of doing that. But in a perfect world, would everything be the way everybody wants it? Sure. But
it's just that the barrier to entry for a beginner. I mean, that's why a lot of people pick VCC, even though it's an inferior emulation, is because it's easy, literally click, point, and click. Not try to hit a key that doesn't exist on your keyboard to bring up a menu that if you accidentally hit escape, you might actually exit the whole emulator and I got to start over again. That type of thing is just bad GUI design.
Bad
user
it is a bad design. So.
So
I understand the roots of it, but I think in the last 25 years they could have improved it.
Yeah, exactly.
They've had a little time.
They've had a little time, huh? A little time.
Like I said, they like what they have.
So they're the devs don't see it.
They're like those bearded Unix gurus, you know. Here's a nickel kit, get yourself a real computer, type thing.
It's the nerds that are just they control it.
Hey, wait a second, nerds. What do you mean nerds? What are you saying here? What are you saying here? Hey, come on.
It's the gurus. Let's use the word gurus.
And I think to Stevie's point, the key for emulation there is to focus on the emulation engine itself and make sure that's as accurate as possible. There's tons of other resources out there that people use for front ends,
front end
for
loaders,
the arcade cabinets, for NES or whatever. So, you know, let other people worry about that. The main core is just focus on how accurate you can get that emulation.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the other issue I have with MAME is that, you know, every second or third release, it seems they break something. So it's not really.
They got to rewrite everything.
Yeah, there must be some Microsoft or former Microsoft employees on the team.
And they undo everything everybody else has fixed.
You know, that's really unfortunate, because Nathan Woods, when he was in charge of the MESS project, he had put together an excellent testing rig and he wrote hundreds of tests where it would run MAME for a few seconds and then produce a video or a still image, and he would compare it against an image that he knew was correct. And within a half an hour, he could test hundreds of drivers with hundreds of options.
Okay.
And it went away. It got lost somehow.
See, it was a separate project originally, and when they incorporated it, they dumped all the add-on stuff they didn't want to add.
And it's unfortunate that it's not around, because it was an excellent testing rig.
Yeah, I wish they would still do that, because I mean, all of us have hit the problem where you download like 2.01 versus 2.00, and all of a sudden, you know, the Coco cassette drive doesn't work anymore, or whatever. I mean, any of the machines.
The last 6 months, you couldn't use any ROM packs that were less than 16K, and nobody knew.
Yeah, or the users, they don't bother, like actual users, they don't usually bother, going on to the blogs and the GitHubs and stuff to report these types of errors. So sometimes the devs don't even know what's happened.
All right. Well, I guess
the whole user versus the geek, the guru side there too.
Yeah.
I guess the good news is yeah, that yes, things change and some of these changes break things, and that seems to be a vicious cycle that's going on. However, if you do take the time to report it, there are people who are actively and continuously working on this, and so those breaks can get fixed again. So it's kind of a cat and mouse. It's that kind of moving target.
I do like Tim's idea though. Like they brought back the testing suite they
Yeah.
originally had done.
Yeah.
That would solve a lot of this. I don't know why they got rid of it.
Right.
To be honest.
So Tim, would you be and I hate to paint the target on you, but would you be at least a good point of contact where somebody has an issue, they could just ping you on Discord and let you know something they found, or do you mind being being that?
Yep.
Okay.
But MAME Testers is another good place. MAMEtesters.com.
Okay.
But yeah, I can take in bug reports.
Okay. So if you guys are on Discord, he's on there as Timbo Tech. He's got that cool little Coco 3 Muggeteers icon there. Send him a message.
So I got to drop off, guys.
All right.
I go to the store.
Hey, Jason, thanks for joining us. Good to see you, man.
It was cool talking to y'all.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah,
Later.
I remember when I first met Tim at the first Coco Fest. I'm like, dude, you're one of the first people I've met who you look in real life just like you do in your profile picture.
Avatar?
Yeah.
My avatar?
Yeah.
Yeah, James Diffendaver would be extremely disappointing to meet in real person. Avatar at all.
Well, I'm tall. I'll give you a hint. That's about most you'll get.
Yeah, but no, I think that'll be one of my next videos. Once I do this little quick drive wire summary video, maybe I'll do like a 2 or 3 parter Coco maiming video. How to get it set up, spend 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there, and then do another and then add some advanced things to it, like tweaking the joysticks, running some batch files to load certain configurations.
If you can cover how to change the
emulation.
Say that again, Tim?
Yeah.
Pasting text into the emulation.
I don't know how to do that, so I might have to lean on somebody to do that, to figure it out. I haven't done that.
Which emulator?
MAME.
MAME, if you use the MES GUI, MES UI, it has pull down menus.
Yeah, but we're talking about like to do it from launching it from the command line to like create like a launch file that would automatically fire up a program.
Oh, that I.
Yeah, because I know Bruce Moore's doing it, so I would ping Bruce on that. Yeah.
There's an option to load it, but I don't remember what it is. So.
Yeah.
But if you can definitely touch on the how to change the default, bring up your UI key, your
yeah. So
partial emulation, like that is definitely something that's needed. I've had so many questions about that, and I don't
and so there's a few things that I just know from my own experiences, but I'll probably reach out and crowdsource some of this information from you guys too, because everybody's using it kind of their own way, and I'm sure we could all pool this knowledge and create a little resource for that. And I know there's at least one person on the mailing list who might be able to benefit from this. So. So that sounds like a project right there. So boom, how to MAME in Coco, how to Coco and MAME, however you want to say it.
How to MAME correctly.
Yes, friends don't let frames MAME incorrectly. But yeah, there was a few things I did to get out of that menu, because I found that when you brought up the UI, I think mine the default was tab to bring up the UI, but then when you hit escape to close the UI, sometimes it would close the whole emulation. And so I was finding that to be a problem. So I think I had actually remapped my UI close key to be something like numlock or clear or one of these unused numpad keys I wasn't using. So when I could pull it up and close it, or make the open and close toggle just a non-standard button that wouldn't interfere with the emulation.
Yeah, no, I had the same problem, because if you had held it down too long or something and your key repeat was set fast enough, it would just take it as actually quit the emulator. Like, damn it. Yeah,
so that's a project. All right, well, this was fun. This was a nice little unplanned social gathering, and we got together and we talked. And for me, it's getting close to a little after 5, so my biological stomach is grumbling. But yeah, so this was the Discord experiment, right? We've been Discording a CoCoTALK, and it seems to work. And it was nice to have.
I have noticed like our other videos other than yours seem to be a little bit choppy from what I remember going. Is that just as Discord versus Zoom, or does that just happen to be the bandwidth?
No, I'm noticing some delays too. Like I'll hear you and then your video kicks in. So I think there's some latency, and I think that just might be Discord.
Okay. So, yeah, it's not quite as good.
Yeah, and actually, I had a problem before. I think Mark B commented last week when I was streaming. He was noticing I was dropping frames and I was having some kilobit issues. I'm looking at my OBS right now. I've been staying in the 6 kilobits, 30 frames per second. I've had 0% frame drop the whole time. I actually had a problem with the Ethernet in my wall. I had, I wired my own house for Ethernet, and there's a problem in the cable. And I actually re-terminated both ends, and it wasn't the end. So there's actually something in the cable, in the wall somewhere that's bad. I've got my pin 7 and 8, which is the brown and brown white pair. They're not reading on one side. And because I'm running gigabit, it's running a problem. So I actually stole the cable from my daughter's room. I just took a screwdriver and poked a hole through the drywall because she's right on the other side of me here, and I stole her cable, put her on Wi-Fi. So now that I'm on, now that I'm hardwired again, I'm no longer having any bandwidth issues uploading.
Yeah,
or
you're
downloading.
coming through smooth, both your own camera stuff and your CoCoTALK.
Yeah, but I noticed that the video was pixelated, so that just could be their compression algorithms that they're using. Zoom has been great, right? So Zoom has been flawless. The picture quality, the bandwidth, everything has been really fluid. So I don't think this will replace Zoom for the show, but this is a great tool and it's free. And it's a new feature they're rolling out too. So this is kind of still like
they'll work on it.
It'll get better.
I just want
like
to make sure it wasn't like in my case, it wasn't my own bandwidth because a lot of people are hitting my site, which is on this computer, to get ease of use downloads.
No,
I will mention to everybody just one public announcement. They are on the Color Computer Archive and they are available on there now. So
okay,
you can get them there as well.
Now, I have one thing to add before we go.
Yes.
While we were on here, I ran a quick couple of benchmarks on the MAME build I did with a 6303 processor for the MC10. And the benchmarks looks like it adds about a 5% speed up to standard basic.
Nice.
Putting it into native mode?
There's no native or hard or emulated mode. It's just native mode. It's
native.
It's always fast.
It's natively native.
Exactly.
It's an optimized chip, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Maybe not quite as optimized as this 6309 though.
So that's the Hitachi version of the 6803.
Right.
So that's
it's a 6303.
There's no pin incompatibilities, like if somebody wanted to get it and just drop it in.
Well, it could be a real problem because since it runs at the high speed all the time, it's going to screw up the timings on the C load, C save, C load M, and probably the sound command, but that could be patched. And the cassette timings, you can even go in and edit some delay settings in RAM that might do the trick. So
yeah, you wouldn't want to break backwards compatibility, but if it would be nice if you just plug this chip in, which runs cooler, and then
Oh yeah, it uses less power and
now is
the
MC10 CPU socketed, or would this require a desoldering?
This is going to require desoldering. Yeah, a few of the MC10s, the early ones, had a socketed ROM, but that was.
How about the CPU itself? Is it socketed or?
No. That was what he just asked. No, it's soldered in.
Okay, and the ROM is also or not?
Depends on how early a model you got.
Oh, okay.
Mine. Let's see. What serial number is it?
Gotta know them serial numbers.
Well,
so a Hitachi replacement chip, is there a bunch of extra opcodes hiding in there?
Yes, there is. And the biggest speed improvement was actually to the hardware multiply, which is about 30% faster. And most of the things are single byte instructions that go from register to register are now one clock cycle. instead of 2 or 3.
Cool.
But the serial number on my unit, my MC10 is 200092. So if your serial number is somewhere, maybe within 1,000 of that, you might have a socketed ROM. And I think they started numbering high on those. I don't think they started at 0, because I don't think they made that many of them. So, yeah, it'll require a different basic ROM in order to work, or being able to switch between 2 CPUs. But yeah, the stuff that with the math, the hardware multiply is 30% faster. It drops from 10 clock cycles to 7. And the 6309 drops from 11 to 10. Yeah, so it's like the 3D plot and stuff that I showed on another episode. That was like 40% faster and almost as fast as the Coco 3. I'm thinking that'll be pretty close to the double speed Coco 3.
It's a pretty good speed boost. Just the compatibility problems and having to desolder everything kind of sucks.
Yeah, and the traces are pretty fine on it too. So you want somebody to do it that has experience with it.
Yeah, luckily I was looking at other screens and not even listening to you guys right now, because my head probably would have exploded. But
bomb.
Yeah, no, that's cool though. I mean, it's the MC10 has got some cool add-ons, and a 6309 like processor for that would be really cool. And I don't know if that's something. Do you know if whatever Ed Snyder's doing on his MC11, as I'm calling it, is going to have that chip, or is he still using a Motorola stock?
He was thinking of doing a version with the 68HC11, which is it has different hardware than 6803, and it's at a different address, so there's some compatibility issues. The basic has to be rewritten, and any program that directly accesses the hardware has to be rewritten. So or patched.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I don't know.
It's kind of like the Commander,
like an
the X16 thing that 8-bit guy's making, right? It's
kind of sort of similar.
Yeah, kind of sort of similar. It's a computer that works, but it's not meant to necessarily be compatible.
He hadn't decided yet.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
That's too bad it didn't have a backwards compatible. That's one nice thing about the 6309 is you could get it to run like a regular 609 chip, except for the illegal instructions that we were finding out with Grabber. If that's what the issue is, I haven't quite figured that out yet. But
now,
they tried to make it somewhat compatible.
With the faster ROM that I've been working on and the 6303, you're looking at up to 13% faster than the standard machine for everything, and like I said, almost 50% faster for stuff that's heavily based on math. So not bad.
Yeah, and to give credit where credit's due, I know the whole my rage quitting story is of legend at this point, but one of the things that I do appreciate, James, you and other people, the fact that you guys have this knowledge and you're sharing this knowledge. It's not always interesting to all people, but you guys have this information and you share this information. It does help. I have learned a lot from you guys, even accidentally, about optimizing your own basic programs to work within how the interpreter works. So these conversations, while they can sometimes be mind-numbing, you can still extract stuff from them and apply that. So the things I do now in my basic code is all because I've learned stuff from you guys talking about understanding how the interpreter works. And what you're ultimately doing is you're optimizing your thinking to be more in alignment with how the interpreter processes things. And I have gleaned a lot from that. And so I want to say thank you for doing that. And it's really helped me, just be
big thanks to Alan Huffman there. His blogs and basic. There's a lot of things that I never knew, like using hex instead of decimals faster. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Right.
Yeah, and honestly, you write better code, and it can provide a bigger speed up than speeding up the basic. So
yeah, it's just understanding what the interpreter does and using that knowledge to your advantage. Right. So I use variables for everything now. I will avoid using constants whenever possible. And since you guys told me that math, especially multiplies and divides in BASIC, are slow, I now create my own lookup tables. I do the math once, I load them into arrays, and so now I look things up based on X and Y coordinates, but there's no math in my game loop anymore because once you've told me that math slows things down, I don't math. So, it's like I'm smart enough to be able to take simple ideas and implement them. So now that I've been educated, I've been implementing that. And so
and have you noticed a noticeable speed up in your
Well,
code?
I don't know because I haven't tried it the other way. I would have to actually.
Oh, right.
I'd actually have to go back and math it to see. But I'm just assuming it's better. And even if it isn't, for me, consciously and organizationally, the fact I do these lookup tables and these arrays, I can just reference things by XY coordinates, and so it's so much more linear. And I've got a very linear way to understand things. On
It might be interesting for you then to go back to before you started thinking that way, like to go back to Cosmic Aliens, for example, and apply some of those.
No, that
new
did.
techniques
I was doing it even
those
back then. I was doing that. So yeah, everything I do is through. There's only 2 projects I've done, and both of them are using these concepts, right? So. Okay. I do,
I just know that Alan's had some new ones since then that I don't know if they applied to your code, that you might be able to even tweak some more out of it.
Yeah. So even though certain things will make my head explode, the parts that I can absorb, I do, and I've applied them. And so for all of you guys who have been sharing that knowledge, I want to say thank you. Good times. Welcome. Good times. Well, I wasn't talking about you, Tim, but all right. Well, we're going to put a fork in this. And speaking of putting a fork, hopefully I'm going to be putting a fork in some real food here in a few minutes too. So this was good. Thanks, guys, for being here. And for those who are still here, Mark Bosley just jumped on.
What is this channel?
What?
What is this channel?
We're live and on the air, Mark Bosley. We're experimenting Discord for CoCoTALK.
Oh, okay.
You're live and on the air. Your pants? Are you wearing pants?
Yeah.
Stop right there. All right. So to those who are left now, Curtis Boyle and David Ladd and James Diffendaffer and Mark B. and Nick Marentes and Nick Marotta and Paul Fiscarelli and Robert Murphy and Timbo Tech, who is Tim Lindner, and everyone else who is here. Thanks, guys, for being here. We're going to press the button on the stream, but we're on Discord, so you don't have to stop Discording if you don't want to. And we'll catch you all later. Say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Goodbye.
Later, everyone.